from Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. This is the Motor Racing Network with the broadcast of the Permatex 300 NASCAR Late Model Sportsman National Championship Race. Host for today's broadcast is Ken Squire.
From the birthplace of speed, Daytona Beach, Florida, welcome to the Permatex 300 for late model sportsman stock cars, the next to last event in Speed Weeks 1976 here at the world's finest motor speedway. An all-star lineup, a cast of 40, just about set to go in this one for 300 miles, which is the prelude to the Daytona 500 tomorrow afternoon. And that is going to be a scorcher of a race, which you'll hear on all of these same radio stations. As we get set for a start, let's take a look at the starting lineup today for the $72,000 event, which highlights automobiles which have track champions from California to the state of Maine participating today. There are 40 of them here, and on the shotgun position will be Bill Michaud of Baltimore. He'll be driving in a Mercury automobile. And now we have a change, incidentally, on the starting grid. There is going to be a replacement on the back of the grid for the start of the event, and it will be Joe Thurman of Rocky Mount, Virginia, moving into the race, and Bobby Allison's car is going to come out of competition. The Cam 2 Motor Oil Chevrolet will not start. So therefore, shotgun position will go to Joe Thurman, former national champion from Rocky Mount, Virginia, and the first story of the day is that Allison will not start. The command to fire the engines has just been given. We're getting set for the Permatex 300 here on this 2.5-mile Bank Superspeedway with perfect Florida weather for the running of the Permatex 300. Continuing the starting lineup for the Permatex 300 here at the Daytona International Speedway. Joe Thurman starts 40th, 39th will now be Bill Michaud. Going in the 38th position from Jacksonville, Florida, Terry Mock in number 44, a Ford automobile. Starting 37th will be Horace Vineyard in a Chevrolet automobile number 6. Going in the 36th position, number 59, A.C. York of Knoxville, Tennessee, in a Mercury automobile. 35th is Jack Nolan of Jacksonville, Florida, a Plymouth. The 34th position is Tommy Rabb of Lunders, Virginia. He's in a Mercury. Starting 34th is the gentleman who won this event in 1972, 3 and 4, and a former National Rookie of the Year, Grand National Rookie of the Year, Bill Dennis from Glen Ellen, Virginia, in the A&A Auto Parts Ford. He's 34th. Then 33rd is the black driver from Newport, Tennessee, in a Ford Randy Bethea, number 37. Starting 31st on the grid is Red Farmer, the National Sportsman Champion in 1969, 70, and 71, and a former winner of the Permatex 300. Farmer in the Long and Lewis Ford, 31st. Going 30th will be Harry Gant of Taylorsville, North Carolina, a Pontiac automobile, who was 5th in the national standings in 1975. Gant starting 30th. Moving to the 29th position, Larry Utzman from Bluff City, Tennessee, a Chevrolet. Starting 28th will be Brad Teague of Johnson City, Tennessee, also a Chevrolet. He's the track champion at Lonesome Pine International Raceway in Coburn, Virginia, and the field begins to roll down pit road. Starting 27th will be car number 47 from Ferndale, California, the winner of the Permatex race earlier this year at the Riverside course, Jim Walker. He's a former track champion up at the Eureka Speedway. Then starting in the 26th position is Junior Crouch of Taylorsville, North Carolina, in a Mercury. Going 25th from Rossville, Georgia, Bob Burcham in a Dodge automobile, number 02. And that automobile was to be driven by Jim Sauter. Now it's Burcham to drive the car. Sauter sick this morning, a cold, and so they put Bob Burcham to work in the machine. 24th is Mike Duval of Gaffney, South Carolina, Chevrolet. Going 23rd is number 17, Ron Bouchard of Fitchburg, Massachusetts. Bouchard in a Chevrolet. The 22nd position in the race is Connie Saylor of Johnson City, Tennessee, and he is driving a Chevrolet automobile. Going 21st in the field is Chet Williams of Johnson City, Tennessee, another Ford. In 20th is young Dale Earnhardt of Kannapolis, North Carolina, the champion of the Metrolina Speedway. The 19th position is Bud Strickler from Harrisburg, Virginia. Going 18th is Gene Morgan. He's driving a Chevrolet in the event. Starting 17th is Tommy Houston of Hickory, North Carolina, a Chevrolet automobile for the North Carolina State Champion and the Hickory Speedway Champion. The 16th position is Wayne Shugart of St. Augustine, Florida, a Mercury automobile. The 15th position is Richie Evans, the former National Modified Champion from Rome, New York, in a Chevrolet number 61. Going 14th, number 01 from Richmond, Virginia, it's Ray Hendrick, who was the 9th place driver in the national standings for 1975 and voted the most popular driver in late model sportsman ranks last year. Starting in the 14th position, Hendrick. 13th will be Monk Tate of Ruffin, North Carolina, the big surprise winner earlier this season at that race at Martinsville, Virginia. Starting 12th is Morgan Shepherd, the runner-up for the National Sportsman Championship in 1975 out of Carnarvon, North Carolina, driving the familiar car of Marion Cox. The 11th position from Siler City, North Carolina, Wayne Andrews in number 15. Starting 10th will be number 94, Johnny Allen of Greenville, South Carolina, a Ford. Then moving to 9th is Larry Schild of Houston, Texas, a Chevrolet. 8th is Sam Summers of Savannah, Georgia, the Savannah, Georgia Speedway Champion, a Chevrolet. 7th is Joe Milligan of Randleman, North Carolina, in a Dodge Automobile 04. Then going 6th will be Sammy Ard of Asheboro, North Carolina, a Chevrolet. Starting 5th will be car number 41, Jack Bland of Riverdale, Maryland, a Chevrolet. In the 4th position is number 54, Lenny Pond of Petersburg, Virginia, the Pepsi-Cola Chevrolet. And going 3rd is L.D. Ottinger, Newport, Tennessee, the National Sportsman Champion in the Black Diamond Coal Chevrolet. In the front row, number 88, the Gatorade Chevrolet with Darrell Waltrip. And starting on the pole, 3-time U.S. National Modified Champion, the Iron Man from Asheville, North Carolina, Jack Ingram, in that beautiful bronze number 11. As they go down the backstretch, 7 track champions, 3 state champions, ready to go to work. Former winners Jack Ingram, Bill Dennis, Red Farmer, ready to go for the struggle that starts a superstar on his way, winning the Permatex 300 with all these car owners from the Grand National looking on. Our expert commentator for part of the Permatex 300 today, well, he is no new fellow of this racetrack and a veteran of this particular race. David Pearson, 40 automobiles. Any ideas about who might pull this one out or how it's going to go?
Well, Ken, it's hard to say. Of course, I've got a lot of good friends out there running, and right now I wouldn't want to really pick any one certain guy. Of course, Jack Ingram, he won the last race here, and my boy Ricky is down in the pits, his pits, helping him change tires today, doing things. So I guess right now I'm going to have to pull for Jack a little bit.
Well, Jack Ingram is on the pole in the beautiful bronze number 11 automobile. He squares up against the Gatorade Chevrolet of Darrell Waltrip out of Franklin, Tennessee. And the pace car has the light go off on the roof, indicative of a start for this great event for $72,000. The prelude to tomorrow's great Daytona 500 is just about 1,000 feet away from a start. The officials today, Harold Kinter is the chief starter, John Bruner Jr., not on the stand for the start of today's race. They are under green, and as they blast out into turn number 1, number 88 goes out in front for just a moment. Darrell Waltrip has the lead, and he's challenged in the first turn.
Change in leadership as they hit turn 1. Lenny Pond has put the Pepsi-Cola car squarely in front. Waltrip rides in second spot of that Gatorade Chevrolet. Back in third comes Ingram. 4th is L.D. Ottinger. 5th is Jack Bland. And 6th is Joe Milliken. A single 5-car draft as they go down the backstretch.
Kicking up the dust down the back straightaway, tight to the rear bumper of your lead automobile. Lenny Pond is Darrell Waltrip. On the inside comes Ingram.
They hit the 31-degree banking for the first time. Down on the inside comes Ingram, challenging for the lead. He's inside Pond. He has a fender out in front. Jack Ingram is dashing toward the finish line with the lead. Pond rides second. Third spot is held by the Gatorade Chevrolet.
As they come down, it's L.D. Ottinger running in 4th. They come 3 wide into the tri-oval area, and leading is Lenny Pond. The Pepsi-Cola automobile is in front. Now, Darrell Waltrip moves to the inside at turn 1, tries to slide through. One car showing a lot of smoke as it motors around the track. That's car number 37, which looks to be in a bit of a problem here in the early going. Car 37 showing smoke as we get underway. Meanwhile, the leaders are in the backstretch.
It's still Lenny Pond in front, but they're tightening it up. It's like a knot full of 4 cars now. Down into turn number 3. It's Pond, trailed by Waltrip by less than an inch.
4 cars in the lead draft, and just 20 yards back of them come 3 more, dicing for that early lead draft. The leader is Lenny Pond, moving that red, white, and blue Pepsi-Cola Chevrolet up into the 3rd lane. Right there is Waltrip, and taking over 3rd spot is Ottinger, as 4th place falls to Ingram.
Randy Bethay's car is the one smoking and maybe coming in as they come across the stripe again. Lenny Pond in front, Darrell Waltrip in second, L.D. Ottinger is third, and running in the fourth position, Jack Ingram, last year's winner at the first turn.
Ken, most of the drivers plan to kind of square out exactly like they're running right now. It looks like one of the machines, a lot of smoke coming from the car as they come over into turn number 2. And that is going to be Sam Summers' car number 27. He could have dropped an engine. He's cutting down on the grass. A tremendous amount of smoke out of car number 27. Meanwhile, down in turn number 3, you're about to have a lead change.
And Darrell Waltrip puts the Gatorade Chevrolet in front. It's Pond in second, and here comes Ingram into third.
Well, there's no indication that Green has bad racing luck in that Waltrip car up front. He is forged to the lead. A car length advantage over Lenny Pond. Ingram moving into the third spot. And now here Jack Bland putting a move on the inside as we tighten into a 7-car draft.
The first lap was at 171.755 miles per hour. It's Pepsi-Cola on the inside, Gatorade on the outside, wheel to wheel to the tri-oval, and Jack Ingram tries to stir up that storm to 3 deep as they go back to turn 1.
Still the Pepsi-Cola going out front, and now here comes Ingram making his move. He dropped all the way to the bottom of the speedway, no place to go. He just shuffles right back up into traffic. 7 cars running for the lead. It is the Pepsi car of Lenny Pond out front. Waltrip is second, Ingram third, Milliken fourth, Ottinger is fifth, Jack Bland is in sixth, and Jerry Scheil rides in seventh as that draft down the backstretch.
And Milliken and Ottinger continue to square off, trying to grab that fourth position. Right now it's Milliken in the 04 Dodge.
That lead quartet tried to get away, and they could not do it. All 7 lead cars in that draft are tied up bumper to bumper. It's Pond out front, right there tapping at the rear deck is Waltrip. He dives to the inside as Ingram runs third.
The last lap at 178.571 miles per hour, and there is less than a second separating the first 7 automobiles as they scream through the tri-oval and start to work the 5th lap. Ben Curley of Hidden Knight, North Carolina, has just pitted his automobile, and number 27 has also rolled on pit road and is going out of the race. Sam Summers of Savannah, Georgia, lasting only 2 laps before the engine expired on the blue white numeraled automobile. Now we have another car coming in. That's Randy Bethay, who's been out there smoking for a couple of laps, and the Nashville, Tennessee racer comes on to pit road as the leaders come by to complete the 6th lap of competition. 114 laps remaining. It's a real scramble for the lead among 7 automobiles going into the first turn.
Ken L.D. Ottinger beginning to flex the muscles on that number 2 Chevrolet. All of a sudden, he ducked around Waltrip, picked up the number 2 position. He's now chasing Lenny Pond as they come into turn number 3. The 2 front cars have opened up about a 7-car separation on Ingram, who rides third. Milliken is still fourth. The Gatorade Chevrolet of Waltrip is 5th, and Jack Bland is still in 6th position. Down the backstretch, here goes Ottinger to the inside.
Ottinger gets the lead, but don't count out your 8th place man. Now he's grabbed 7 spots thus far. That's Ray Hendrick in car number 01 as he closes in.
As they move high up the 31-degree banking for the first time, we see L.D. Ottinger in that brilliant red car leading the way. Lenny Pond drops back to 2nd spot. Bland is in 3rd correction. Ingram in 3rd spot, and then followed by 4th place, Joe Milliken.
Last lap at 177.8 miles per hour. And the red, white numeral, number 2 of L.D. Ottinger is out in front. Lenny Pond hitched right to him in the 2nd position as they scream into the first turn, with Jack Ingram now 4 car lengths back in 3rd position. The 1-2 watch is Ray Hendrick of Richmond, Virginia, the Dick Armstrong Chevrolet, really beginning to make some time. And here we have another car losing a lot of smoke out of the back end. And David, early in this race, that's been the story. There's been smoke all around this racetrack, and they have not put the black flag, the consultation flag, out for them.
Well, Ken, you know, they have spotted all the way around the racetrack, checking to see if they're dumping oil out. Excuse me. But I definitely think that, a while ago, I thought that they should have thrown the black flag because they was definitely throwing oil out on the racetrack.
Well, now we're into the 8th lap of competition. They're working through the 8th lap with car number 54. Lenny Pond in front, Ottinger in 2nd, Ingram is 3rd. Joe Milliken, the young 26-year-old mechanic from the Richard Petty Garage in a Dodge automobile, is now showing in 4th as they wheel back down into the west end of the speedway.
The front 5 are still stuck together. Just about a car length separate those front 5. Then back in 6th position is car number 01, Ray Hendrick. And many drivers said that Hendrick is sandbagging, just playing a waiting game, kind of like the gentleman who's sitting up there with you does sometimes, Ken Squire.
Well, he's thrown the hook out now, Barney, as Ray Hendrick begins to catch the draft, and he starts to see the rear bumper of the Gatorade Chevrolet back here on the backstretch.
They're working their way through lap traffic now. The leaders are high in the east banking of the speedway, and it's Lenny Pond who has re-annexed the lead up there in turn 3 as they thunder through turn 4. It's the Pepsi-Cola Chevrolet number 1.
They're into lap traffic. 3 slower cars on the inside as they hit the tri-oval at 180 miles per hour. The Pepsi-Cola car, Lenny Pond is in front. Ottinger is in second. Milliken holding third. Dropping back to fourth is Jack Ingram. In fifth is the car number 88 of Darrell Waltrip of Tennessee. First turn is where the action is right now in lap number 10.
Ottinger just continues to pressure Lenny Pond as they hit turn number 2. He keeps about a car length back, ducks on him down the backstretch as though he's going to make a pass on him just to kind of work on his nerves a little bit. Now pulling up is Milliken, and the front 3 began to open a little separation. Here goes Ottinger to the inside again, down toward turn 3.
He's on the inside. Car number 2, L.D. Ottinger, Newport, Tennessee, takes the lead.
Those two Chevrolets have really got a ding-dong battle going up front, and now Lenny Pond falls back into the sandwich between Ottinger and car number 2, or rather O2, Joe Milliken. 2 red cars surrounding that Pepsi-Cola red, white, and blue.
Wild racing off the fourth turn as they bobble for just a moment, collect these automobiles at nearly 180 miles per hour, shovel on the coal. In these late model Sportsman cars, a change of leadership appears to be developing back at the first turn in the 11th lap.
Lenny Pond puts the pressure back on again, trying to get the lead back from Ottinger. This time they'll be working some lap traffic as they exit turn number 2. Here's Ottinger. He swings to the outside groove. Pond sticks his Chevrolet right down to the bottom of the racetrack. Ottinger takes it out against the wall, and here goes Lenny Pond 3 deep as they go down the backstretch. Pond may get the lead before they get to turn 3.
He threads the needle through the eye of the traffic here, but Lenny Pond stays glued to the rear bumper of L.D. Ottinger. Milliken is in third, and Waltrip in fourth.
Waltrip now is moving back to the inside of the racetrack and has designs on the lead as that lead 5-car draft has really tightened it right back up in that lap traffic. It is as they come off the turn. Still, L.D. Ottinger leading the way.
In that 1,600-foot straightaway leading to the tri-oval, just 1 4/10 seconds separate the top 6 automobiles as L.D. Ottinger is pressed hard. They have 6 automobiles running a double column as they go into the first turn, and now they're 3 deep, and we have a new leader.
Down to the inside comes Ottinger. He had the lead for a moment by maybe inches. He still squeezes up alongside Lenny Pond, and it's a dead heat as they come out of the number 2 corner. Door-to-door post, they go down the back chute. It's still that way, right in the middle of the back straightaway, and Waltrip pulls up to make it a 4-way battle. Down to the inside goes Waltrip.
Down almost on the grass, Darrell Waltrip in the Gatorade Chevrolet gets by L.D. Ottinger, and now by Lenny Pond. He's got it by a nose.
Racing like it was the last lap of the Daytona 500 instead of the 12th of the Permatex 300, Darrell Waltrip, one of the emerging NASCAR superstars, takes over the lead in his Gatorade Chevrolet. Pond falls to second, and Ottinger goes third.
It's a great race, but the Permatex 300 has been that way from its inception as Lenny Pond retakes the lead to end lap number 12. It's all coming to you from the birthplace of speed, Daytona Beach, Florida. Larry Utzman and Junior Crouch have both brought their automobiles on pit road while they're working the 14th lap.
Ken Squire, Barney Hall in turn number 2, and here comes Ray Hendrick. He is on the move. Hendrick rambles down to the inside, goes up into the number 2 position, and look at him in turn 3.
The pedal is to the metal. Ray Hendrick challenging. He's in third position. L.D. Ottinger feigned to move to the inside, then thought better of it and backed off.
Hendrick had to run up without the advantage of the draft to catch these leaders. He's got a strong engine. He's on the inside of Darrell Waltrip, and Hendrick takes over second spot as Lenny Pond holds the lead.
Wow, he slides up across at least two lanes as he came out of turn number 4. And car number 01, Ray Hendrick, is going for the lead in the Dick Armstrong automobile as they work the 15th lap. The average speed at the end of 10 laps was a strong 177.510 miles per hour. And there goes Ray Hendrick to the inside of Lenny Pond as 2 Virginians square off in turn number 2.
Lenny Pond has had his hands full hanging on to that lead. Here's Hendrick. He really punches it this time. He's got the lead by just about a half a car length as they go down the backstretch.
High, wide, and handsome. From Richmond, Virginia, Ray Hendrick has the lead, but Lenny Pond darts back with the draft and takes it over into turn 3.
Pond goes high up onto the banking to take over the lead from Hendrick. Hendrick sits in second spot. Third rides the number 88, Darrell Waltrip Gatorade Chevrolet, as they begin to string out just a little bit in lap traffic. In fourth spot is the lone Dodge in that sextet of Chevrolets. That's Joe Milliken.
Some wild running by Ray Hendrick, David Pearson. Bottom to the top of the racetrack out of turn number 4 with Darrell Waltrip inches away from him.
Well, it's Ken, like you said, he is awful strong because anytime you can pull inside of somebody on the bottom groove of the racetrack and pull him down the backstretch, you got to be awful strong. So Ray is definitely strong.
Last lap at 176 miles per hour. Ottinger led at 10 laps with Pond then second. Milliken was third. Darrell Waltrip was running fourth, and running fifth at the 10th lap was this 01 Ray Hendrick. Then in sixth was the Jack Ingram car. Running in seventh was Larry Schild of Texas, and going eighth was car number 41 Jack Bland. With the ninth position, the 00 of Sammy Ard of Asheboro, North Carolina, and going 10th was car number 10 94 Johnny Allen. The 11th position was Richie Evans. In 12th was Monk Tate. Running 13th was Morgan Shepherd. In 14th was the automobile of Gene Morgan, and the 15th position was car number 17, Ron Bouchard. Going 16th was the car number 8 of Dale Earnhardt from Kannapolis, North Carolina, on the 10-lap rundown. Now, it's less than 1 second between the first 5 automobiles. They've just turned up the fastest lap of the race, the 17th lap, 178.571 miles per hour, 178, led by Lenny Pond, who is currently showing the way as the field rambles down out of the 4th turn. And once again, we have 6 automobiles in a jam session for the lead, and they're in very heavy lap traffic. As they move back to the tri-oval to complete the 18th lap, Lenny Pond in front. Ray Hendrick is in second. Pushing himself up into 3rd spot goes Darrell Waltrip, and the running is really tight. They're bumper to bumper, 5 strong at the first turn.
Ken, they've been picking their way through traffic. That last time around, there was an awful lot of traffic here in turn 1. It seems like wherever Pond goes, that's where that 4-car pack behind him decides to go. Out of the number 2 corner is still Lenny Pond, Ray Hendrick, Darrell Waltrip, Joe Milliken, and L.D. Ottinger. The front 5 stream down the backstretch and head for turn 3.
You'd think this racing real estate was gilded with gold as your lead automobile changes now. Ray Hendrick takes over the lead, Pond second, Waltrip in third.
Hendrick ducking to the inside under Lenny Pond, a move we've seen a couple of times before with that very, very strong engine that he has. Pond rides second. Third is still Darrell Waltrip, one of the great NASCAR drivers, and behind him comes Ottinger.
It's Ray Hendrick out in front. The man they call Mr. Modified comes into the tri-oval. Here comes L.D. Ottinger going right down to the bottom of the racetrack and moving under number 88 to appropriate the 3rd position. Oh, he had it right down in the apron that time as Ottinger uses up racetrack to take over 3rd spot. Still, this juncture in the 20th lap of competition, the leader is 01, Ray Hendrick, in a red, white numeraled automobile, and he's sporting a 2-car length advantage in the backstretch.
The ironical part of this whole operation is the fact that both cars are prepared by Jack Hand, your leader and Lenny Pond, both cars with Jack Hand from Richmond, Virginia behind them.
The leaders, 5 brilliantly colored racing cars, continue to play bumper tag in the east banking of Daytona Speedway. It is Hendrick, your leader. Pond is right there. Ottinger takes 3rd spot away from Waltrip, and continuing to ride 4th is Milliken.
In the Permatex 300 race here at the Daytona International Speedway for late model sportsman cars, averaging over 177 miles per lap. The leader at the present time is, well, it's changing once again as they go down the backstretch by Jack Arute.
Lead automobile continues to be Ray Hendrick, but look out, here comes L.D. Ottinger. He's in 3rd place, and he tries to gobble by the Pepsi-Cola machine of Lenny Pond into turn 3.
They continue to feel one another out in the early stages of the race here. Ottinger has taken over the 3rd spot, and right now he's up there playing bumper tag with Lenny Pond. He goes to the inside. As up front, it continues to be Hendrick leading.
With 22 laps about to be completed, 9/10 of a second separate the top 5 automobiles. Joe Milliken in that 5th position. 4th is the Gatorade car with Darrell Waltrip. Then the Black Diamond Coal car of L.D. Ottinger is running in the 3rd position. Pond is in 2nd, and back up in front pops the 01. And that is Ray Hendrick, who started 15th in the race. We asked Hendrick before the race began if he was worried about the youngsters or about himself starting back there in 15.
Well, I'm worried about myself and them. I wish I could start up front, you know, and not have to worry about getting by some of them, but it's the way it goes, I guess.
Well, you're not too far off, are you, as far as the sportsman race is concerned? You're going to get a crack at getting up in there. Well, 15th. You're still a ways back.
15th, a whole lot can happen to you, you know, in a couple laps. Somebody cross up in front of you.
Well, right now, he's leading, and no one crossed up in front of him with record speeds being turned out in the initial laps. Here comes number 2, L.D. Ottinger, moving beneath number 54, Lenny Pond in the tri-oval, as they work through the 23rd lap and commence the 24th. With a surprise, Ray Hendrick, a brand-new automobile built by Banjo Matthews, entered by Dick Armstrong from up in Massachusetts. And the car is now leading by 12 car lengths as they move through the 2nd turn.
Ken, he's really running strong because everybody's having trouble just hanging the draft on him as he comes into the corners. Big surprise is Jack Ingram. Jack has fallen way off the pace. He qualified at 184 miles an hour, and he's almost a straightaway behind the leaders. Might check with David and kind of see if he's just playing a waiting game on that car.
What about it, David Pearson? That car is back a ways, and that front 5 draft is bumper to bumper. Is he waiting on them to have trouble?
Well, I think so, Ken. But I talked to him just before the race started, and he said he was going to try to use his head and lay back and let the other guys do the racing and wait till the end of the race before he started running.
Car number 24 has just gone back to the garage area. Number 24 automobile, that's Junior Crouch of Taylorsville, North Carolina, who's had an on-again, off-again afternoon, now takes his automobile to the garage. A 20-lap rundown for you. This is 20 laps now of the event, 50 miles of the 200 of the entire distance of 300 run. 01 was leading. Ray Hendrick at 20 laps. The second spot was Pond. Third was Ottinger. Fourth was Waltrip. In fifth was Milliken. And running in the sixth position was Johnny Allen at that time.
Into turn 3, L.D. Ottinger takes the lead away from Ray Hendrick. Waltrip remains in third, Pond in fourth, and Milliken in fifth.
On the 20-lap rundown, the 7th position belonged to car number 7, Larry Schild. In the 8th position was car number 61, being driven by Richie Evans. Running in the 9th position was car number 0, and that automobile was the Sammy Ard car. Running in the 10th spot was car number 41. The driver is Jack Bland. 11th is the machine of Monk Tate. Running in the 12th position is Morgan Shepard. And 13th is Ron Bouchard, with the 14th position belonging to car number 45, Gene Morgan. In 15th is Dale Earnhardt of Kannapolis, North Carolina, and he has picked up one position in 10 laps. Going in the 16th position is car number 95. That's Tommy Houston. Running in the 17th position is car number 96, Connie Saylor, and 18th is number 65, the driver Chet Williams from Tennessee. The front 5 automobiles still 9/10 of a second separating the first 5 automobiles as they've now completed 25 laps, 62.5 miles, and as they come back across the line, it's 01, Ray Hendrick dipping, dodging, darting out of that fourth turn, David. That looks tricky.
Ken, it's got to be. I just noticed in Ray's car, he got to be handling real good, because I just have never seen nobody drive a Speedway the way he's driving it. He just don't get around this racetrack the way he's doing at that speeds, at the groove he's running in.
The last time I saw anyone run like that was 1967 when Andretti won this race. You were in that one. Remember how loose he ran all over the racetrack, but he kept it together and won the 500 that year.
Well, that's true, but, I just can't believe the way Ray's come off as number 4th turn. He's coming off real low and just going right back up against the wall. And you usually just don't do that running these kind of speeds running this racetrack.
Not unless you take the side of the car off.
Well, I just keep watching every time he comes over forward, thinking maybe he is going to come up in front of somebody or slide in front of somebody, because they are a hump coming off of 4, and if you hit the hump just the wrong way, you've lost it.
David Pearson with us today, the 3-time Winston Cup Grand National Champion who puts the Purolator Mercury to the test tomorrow in trying to win the world's greatest stock car race, the Daytona 500. A record crowd is out today. Looks to be about 65,000, 70,000 have gathered. And what a race they're seeing. 5 automobiles locked together in combat out of turn 2.
Ken, they look like a handful of colored jelly beans going reds, greens, and blues with Waltrip, the Ottingers, Ray Hendrick, and there's a battle for the lead going back into the number 3 corner.
It's Ottinger trying it once again on the inside, but he just doesn't get enough into turn 3. Milliken tries the same move around Waltrip, then backs off.
L.D. Ottinger has definitely shown strength throughout. He's been able to move through that draft. He moved around the number 88 car of Waltrip without a great deal of difficulty, and now he's putting a move on the leader, Hendrick.
As we get to 28 laps complete, Morgan Shepard brings the Marion Cox number 50 onto pit road, and we have still 5 automobiles all in a wrap-up here in turn number 1 as this battle goes on for the lead in the Permatex 300 from the Daytona International Speedway. Darrell Waltrip has just pitted car number 88, one of that front 5, pulling onto pit road. Waltrip is in, and they've run through 29 laps without a caution flag today. Looks like new records here. Ray Hendrick, we were wondering, they had a yellow bumper on him. The last time he was here was 1966 when he finished in 9th position. He is an old champion from Richmond, Virginia, who just about owns the modified division. Anytime he brings one of those Jack Tant prepared automobiles in, you can look for him to go home. Well, right now, he's up here with a big surprise today in the car from Bellingham, Massachusetts. Car number 01 prepared by Dick Armstrong. Number 41, Jack Bland, is pitting his automobile. And we're up to pit stop time. We should see all the leaders coming in here as we reach 30 laps. From Daytona International Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network. Car number 88, Darrell Waltrip, was the first of the lead quintet to pit. He was on pit road 20 and 2/10 seconds. For you armchair statisticians will keep track of that top 5, 20.2. He put on 2 tires and put in a tank of fuel and is back on the track. The first of the leaders to pit. The speed stays at 177.
Oh, trouble in turn number 2. Car number 7, Jerry Scheil, spinning right up in the groove, and he is smacked T-bone right in the door. 3 cars spinning. Smoke all over the speedway. Jerry Scheil was T-boned right in the engine compartment of the car. Ken Squire, he has come to rest out in the groove against the concrete wall. Car number 47 is the gentleman who T-boned him. Let's go back to the tower. We'll be back in a minute.
Car number 47 was the Jim Walker car from Ferndale, California. The young man who was a logger in California, who we saw win his first major race at Riverside, California, in that Permatex 200 out there back in January. He came out of turn number 2 with absolutely no place to go, a spinning car in front of him that had tagged the wall, and he looked like he went right through it. Let's go back to turn number 2 for an update from that position in Barney Hall.
Ken, he apparently erupted an engine. A lot of smoke came to the car. He lost it, came down on the grass, tried to keep it there. The car went sailing back up into the groove, and there was absolutely nothing that Walker could do. He was just in the groove, and he hit him right in the... He tried to steer around the car, caught him. Luckily, he didn't get him right in the door. He hit him in the engine compartment. The car still resting in the middle of the speedway. We can see the driver moving in the car. He's waiting until traffic goes by. We'll give you a later report in a minute. Car 47 has come to rest on the apron. He is still in the car also. Back to the tower.
And again, that first car that was in trouble.
It was car number 7, Jerry Scheil from Houston, Texas. He looked like he could have lost an engine or cut a tire. There was just a lot of smoke coming from out of the car. It suddenly broke loose, came down on the apron, and went right back up in the groove, and that must be one terrifying feeling.
Larry Scheil has been here in this race before, and this was the first appearance for Walker, who was sent here by the community of Ferndale, California. They were so proud of him. That's the furthest point west you can go in the contiguous states. And the whole community got together after his great upset victory in the Riverside race. He brought in this automobile, which he built himself, and looked a great deal like Emmanuel Zervakis' cars out of Richmond, Virginia. Blue, white numeral, lovely car. And it has been entirely, the front end just torn asunder. There's nothing left to it, as he is in contact and nearly center punches the Larry Scheil car.
Ken, let me interrupt you a moment. Jerry Scheil is talking to the safety crews that are over there. He appears to be all right. They're waiting to get him out of the car, but he has his arm out the window just talking to them. So it looks like he may not have any serious injuries other than just shaken up a bit. The other car still rests. Walker's car down on the grass, and the safety crews are there. He also is still in the car. Back to the tower.
Richie Evans, number 61, is on pit road for right side rubber. They're refueling Darrell Waltrip. And now to bring you up to date in the 32nd lap here. Caution is out for the first time after a savage T-bone crash in turn number 2. He eliminates the automobile of Jerry Scheil, torn just about apart, and he was tagged by the Jim Walker car from Ferndale, California, which was making its first Daytona appearance. It was sent here by the community of Ferndale after the car was victorious in Riverside, California in their Permatex event. This guy, Jim Walker, he's a loner, has his own logging truck, his own cat up there in the woods, works by himself, and put together a beautiful racing car which has just been shattered in this 175-mile-per-hour crash in turn 2 of the Daytona Speedway. Now all the leaders are taking this opportunity to pit. Waltrip's car has been in twice. The Milligan car, that's the Richard Petty car, and is being serviced by the Petty crew today. Milligan, a mechanic for Richard Petty, up there in Level Cross, is on pit road to that Dodge that finished second here 1 year back. And there's the Ray Hendrick car, which has been the big surprise. They're taking tires, all 4 tires on that car, and the Norris Industries crew, the Bud Moore crew, is the crew servicing Ray Hendrick's automobile today.
Ken Squire, Barney Hall, back in turn 2. They have now removed both drivers from the car. They have put them on a stretcher. Both appeared to be conscious and talking with officials as they pulled them out of the cars. They have put them on a stretcher and will take them to the field hospital. Let's go back to the tower.
That's as tough a lick as you can take, right, David Pearson?
Well, Ken, that's really the dangerous part of it, is when somebody's spinning that way or sliding and getting hit in the side. But like Barney said, if he was lucky enough to not hit into the middle of the door, the T-bone right in the middle of the car. So, you all right, pretty well all right that way, as long as you don't do that. But it just looked like there wasn't anything that could be helped there, that the guy did lose the engine, or appeared that he did. And he came down and went back up, and the other car just didn't have anywhere to go.
David Pearson, you've had it happen. You've come off a corner at 180 miles an hour, and there's a man slithering up the track in front of you, and there's nothing really you can do. But what do you do?
Well, you just try to miss it. In other words, I've heard different people say, well, you always aim to where the car's at, and, and by the time you get there, it's gone. But that's not true. It's just like anything else. When you see something coming at you, you always try to dodge it.
Here comes car number 86. I believe this is the Monk Tate automobile coming onto pit road from Ruffin, North Carolina, who won the big race in Martinsville, Virginia last fall. Here's the 30-lap rundown. 30 laps complete of the distance today, and 30 laps means there's 90 laps to go. 75 of the 300 miles run, 225 remaining, with car number 01, Hendrick, at that time leading. It was showing car number 2, Ottinger, in second. Going third was Joe Milliken. In fourth was Lenny Pond. In fifth was Jack Ingram. In sixth at 30 laps was car number 94, Johnny Allen. Running in seventh was Larry Schild, who has just crashed violently at turn number 2, and his car has been totally demolished. He has been taken to the hospital. Eighth was Richie Evans in the car number 61. Running in ninth was the 00 automobile of Sammy Yard. Going in 10th was the 86 car being driven by Monk Tate. The 86 car of Tate had picked up one position. Running 11th was Waltrip. Remember, he pitted early, and now he is the last car in that lead lap. In the 12th position, a lap down, car number 95, Tommy Houston from over in Hickory, North Carolina. In the 13th position is Ron Bouchard in car number 17. Running in the 14th position is car number 8. Picking up one spot is Dale Earnhardt. Running 15th is car number 45, Gene Morgan. And in 16th is car number 95, the Tommy Houston automobile. And I want a correction on that. We have Tommy Houston listed twice. That is not correct. We'll try to update you on it momentarily here. The Daytona International Speedway is under caution. Through 30 laps, they had been averaging 176.820 miles per hour. A wholesale change of positions following this crash, and all the leaders on pit road. We'll bring you up to date on that momentarily. We're working the 37th lap at the present time. When they come by, they'll have completed 92.5 of the 300-mile distance this afternoon. 54, Lenny Pond is leading after 36 laps and after these pit stops, with the second spot belonging to L.D. Ottinger's number 2, car number 11. Jack Ingram is running third behind the Pontiac safety car. Then running in fourth is the number 01, which is Ray Hendrick. Running fifth is Joe Milliken's 04, and in the sixth position is car number 94, Johnny Allen. Running seventh is car number 88, Darrell Waltrip. In ninth is the 00 of Sam Ard. 9 cars are running in the same lap. We said this was a 2-car crash that has brought out the first caution. We can update you as to a later report on that from the backstretch in Jackaroot.
Ken, when the bomb went off down there in turn number 2, when Walker hit Child's automobile, car number 58, Bub Strickler, hit the dirt and hit it in fine fashion. He spun it about 3 times. He did not look like he got into anybody. Maybe just ticked the rear quarter panel of Walker's car, but then he pulled back onto pit road.
That's the report from the backstretch. There was a third car involved. He took evasive action and spun several hundred feet on the backside of the racetrack. Here is the Wayne Seiler automobile, Wayne Andrews' car from Siler City, North Carolina, number 15, coming onto pit road. And number 95, one of the leaders in the race, Tommy Houston of Hickory, North Carolina, is also pitting his white, blue, gold numeraled automobile at this time. 37 laps complete. Freddie Agavation from the Champion Sparkplug people, who's been here to witness all these events since '59 and all the competition at Daytona. You've got to say, Freddie, that this Permatex 300 is brewing to be one of the best we've ever seen.
Ken, you're absolutely right. I'm pleasantly pleased and honestly impressed with the way the equipment is handling and staying together. I'm also pleased with the boys staying out of trouble. That was, as David Pearson mentioned, unavoidable, so to speak.
There was just no way he could get out of there.
No way.
That's a bad
And
trap.
with the speeds they're turning here, I'm very much impressed with the way the equipment is staying together. It's sure beautiful, no kidding.
177 mile an hour average in most of these laps they've run, Freddie Agavation. That is really strong running for sportsman competition. That's within a tad of the Grand National cars tomorrow in the Daytona 500.
What a tremendous improvement there's been over the years on these cars. They're doing an outstanding job mechanically, as well as the drivers doing an outstanding job.
We don't know as many of the crew names on these automobiles as we do on cars like David's with the Wood Brothers, but certainly they've got some shade tree mechanics who've got their act together in this front quintet particularly. Those cars are really working.
They really have it put together.
Freddie Agavation of the Champion Sparkplug people here, and we'll be here tomorrow. Any predictions on the Daytona 500, Fred?
It's going to be a hell-for-leather race, I think, all the way through, and this man sitting right in front of me, David Pearson, is going to verify that, I'm quite sure. I don't think you could pick a winner on it. and that's why we're having the 500-mile race. We'll find out tomorrow.
I talked to 2 or 3 people today who picked the winner. David Pearson said it would be Pearson. David Marcus said it would be Marcus. And Darrell Waltrip said there was no question but what it would be Darrell Waltrip.
Well, at least there's 2 Davids out of it.
It'll be a David race then.
Well, we'll see what happens when those Dodges, Fords, and Chevrolets get it on tomorrow here at the Daytona International Speedway, and you'll be hearing it on these same radio stations around the world. The Daytona 500 tomorrow, 18th running for $350,000. Ron Bouchard's number 17 out of Pittsburgh, Massachusetts, is now on pit road. That car actually comes from Montreal, Canada. The driver, a former champion of the half miles up in New England, getting set to bring this car on in his second performance on a super speedway. A rare opportunity for these drivers to get out here and work in front of the very best car builders there are. Did you drive in the 500 first, or did you get a chance to run a late model race down here before you came out, David?
The first time I came here, Ken, I run the race. You know, it was back in 1960. I run a 59 Chevrolet.
How'd you do?
You know, I don't really know. It was way back. I had problems. I know that. Pieces kept falling off the car, but we did finish. I remember we did have trouble with the distributor, and I came in and had to change it and went back out. But was running fairly good.
David Pearson, who hopes to be running fairly good tomorrow here in the Daytona 500 when the green flag is unfurled at 1 o'clock Eastern Time for the start of this great racing classic. The prelude to it, the Permatex 300 this afternoon, has featured a 5-car battle. From the inception, it was originally an 8-car battle, then it sugared off to 5, and now we have a series of 8 automobiles in the lead lap. As they come around, they will have completed 40 laps, and they will be back under green once again. In the pits, this report from Kenny Campbell.
The Pond car, as well as the Waltrip car and the Milligan car, all 4 took on all 4 tires as well as fuel. I'll have a report a little later for you. I think some of these cars are going to be able to make more laps than the others. We couldn't tell because of the caution flag that time, but we do have a report on that, and we'll be back to you. Now back to the tower.
Pontiac safety car takes the field down the 3,000-foot backstretch of this 2.5-mile high bank super speedway, where this afternoon these first cousins to the Winston Cup Grand National cars that participate in the 18th annual Daytona 500 are beginning to rev up and get set to cut them loose once again. Here they are moving into turn number 3. Pace car pulling away. The light on the top of the machine comes off, which means that we're set to go racing once again. Pete Keller and Lance Childress, the officials, race directors for this event, go back into the infield by the driver's walkover where they're introduced, and that means we're set for a start. As they move down to start this event another time, a couple of lap cars in front of the faster automobiles. Now the pace car dips onto pit road. And here comes the field for the restart. First caution flag of the day after a hellacious 2-car crash, 3 cars involved at turn 2. As they restart, Lenny Pond in car number 54 is in the first position, with L.D. Ottinger trying to hold on to second as they go down into turn 1.
They have a change of the lead right here. We do. Here goes Ottinger down to the bottom of the speedway. He's got the lead back. L.D. Ottinger from Newport, Tennessee, the leader. Right in second spot now, the Pepsi car of Lenny Pond. Back in third spot is car number 01, Ray Hendrick. Fourth is Joe Milliken as he works his way up through traffic. The 3 front cars head down the backstretch for turn 3.
They tighten it up once again. Lenny Pond tries the inside of the car number 2, L.D. Ottinger, and he gets it, but here comes Ray Hendrick in third.
Pond saw the front of this field for several laps early on, and he's opened up a 3-car separation over Ottinger right now, but here comes Ray Hendrick storming back to the bottom of the racetrack as the lead 3 cars try to get away.
As they come to the line, completing 42 laps. Lenny Pond in front by less than a car length. Ottinger is second. Ray Hendrick is third. Then Joe Milliken runs 15 car lengths back and forth. He is trailed by the car of Darrell Waltrip, running in the 5th spot. 3 cars in a bundle trying to pull away from the lead at turn 1 and 2.
They have about a 60-yard separation on that 4th place car, and they are getting it on out of turn number 2. It is still Pond out front. Ottinger second. Hendrick is third. Back in 4th spot is Milliken, and Waltrip is making time down the backstretch. Here comes the battle for the lead up in turn 3.
They tighten it up. 3 cars going for the lead. It's a knockdown, fight-out, drag-out race now. L.D. Ottinger has got it. Hendrick is in second.
They hit the banking 31 degrees steep, and Ottinger manages to stave off the charge. As the second-place car of Ray Hendrick could not get underneath, he holds on to second spot.
They come by at a complete 42 laps, 105 miles. They're 3 deep, and they're losing time that way. When they run side by side, they slow down, and here comes Milliken. He's picked up about 3 or 4 car lengths in his Dodge automobile, and along comes Darrell Waltrip, and it looks like we're going to have 5 cars in a bundle within a lap or 2. Meanwhile, at the first turn, the leader is
Ray Hendrick has now moved out front. Lenny Pond is back in second, and back in the tail end of that 3-car triumvirate as they leave turn 2 is Ottinger. But Joe Milliken is really gaining on him, and so is Waltrip, and picked up the draft on Waltrip as Richie Evans, and there are going to be about 7 cars in that pack of traffic up front in about a minute.
Joe Milliken looks like he's been taking lessons from Richard Petty as he rides wide, right out to the slate gray guardrail here, every lap here on the backstretch.
You've got to admire the driving of Ray Hendrick. He is all over this racetrack using every available line, and he's keeping Lenny Pond behind him right now as they run 1-2.
car number 37, who's been showing some smoke again, has gone behind the wall. Randy Bethea, number 37, is coming out of competition. He was out here briefly. That means 8 cars have fallen by the wayside from the 40 starters in this event as we move to 107.5 miles complete, and the field moves into the first turn.
They began to tighten it up now. There are 2 cars with about a 7-car separation on third place, Ottinger, but gaining ground on the front runners are Waltrip, Richie Evans, and Joe Milliken. Milliken has just about caught him. He is about 4 car lengths back. It will be a 4-car battle for the lead as they go back to turn 3.
4 cars continue to dice it up. Ray Hendrick just runs in the middle groove and staves off the challenges of Lenny Pond. Ottinger is second.
Pond goes low on the racetrack this time. Can't get by down there. Ottinger tightens it up, and moving up, Joe Milliken has his Dodge on the tail end of those 3 Chevrolets.
As they come out of turn number 4, the fastest lap has just been turned 180.722 miles per hour. 180.722 miles per hour in the last lap, and that was turned by Ray Hendrick, who is being challenged as they move into the west end of the speedway.
Lenny Pond moved down to the bottom of the groove, and there was a car right in the middle of the lane, and he couldn't get around, so he goes back up in the groove, still rides 2 car lengths back, just waiting his chance to get around. Ottinger is still third. Milliken is now locked into that draft, and those front 4 are just inches apart. A change for leadership down the backstretch. Here goes Pond for the lead.
It's a 4-car drag race. Lenny Pond is on the inside of Ray Hendrick. He catches the draft and darts into the lead.
Lenny Pond showing his stuff, has opened up a 2 or 3 car separation. Darrell Waltrip has fallen well off the pace of this lead draft as they link up and run single file, and they are definitely getting away from Waltrip. Now here goes Hendrick on the inside.
Number 02, the Bob Burcham car from Rossville, Georgia, is making some big moves. He started way back in 24th. He's now up to 9th position, running 1 lap back from the leaders. The leaders, 9 of them all together, clustered in turn number 1 as they work the 46th lap of the Permatex 300.
Things are getting interesting up in that front row now. Down to the inside this time comes Ottinger, grabs off the number 2 spot from Lenny Pond. Pond is back in third, Milliken is 4th. Out of the corner, and Hendrick beginning to pull away. He has opened up a 4-car separation down the backstretch.
From Daytona International Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network. Dale Earnhardt of Kannapolis, North Carolina, has just pitted his automobile and come back out on pit road. Earnhardt, young driver, following along in the footsteps of his famous father, who wants to be a super speedway driver, this one. And now here's car number 04. That's the Milliken car, which was running about 15 car lengths behind that trio in the lead. He's made it up, and we have 4 cars running 0.6 of a second apart for the lead, and a real strong door handle to door handle, mash the throttle down battle for second place. They're into turn 2.
Lenny Pond made a bid for the number 2 spot, but for the moment he's content to ride back in 3, and again they tighten up in that 4-car draft, go single file down the backstretch. Ken, you might take a look at Jack Ingram's car. It looks as though in turn 2 there's an excessive amount of smoke coming from under the car. Can't tell if it's tire smoke or if Jack has a problem. Back to the tower.
6 and 4/10 lead now by the front 4 cars, running all bumper to bumper over 88 Waltrip. Waltrip is 6 seconds back from the front 4 leaders as they complete lap number 47, leaving 73 laps to play. The front positions are being contested on every corner. They seesaw back and forth. Behind the Waltrip car in 5th is Jack Ingram, running in 6th, and Ingram seems to be playing a very, very careful game. Now here's the report from the infield hospital here at the Speedway. The report is that Larry Scheil, the Texas driver, has a broken left leg and a mild concussion from that brutal crash. Larry Scheil, who was spinning sideways out of turn number 2, has a fractured left leg
Ken Squire,
a mild concussion.
In turn 2, Jack Ingram. A lot of smoke from the car, and now Ingram is way off the pace and is buried down on the apron, heading down the backstretch, and probably will be coming in the pits. Pole position winner Jack Ingram is in trouble.
And we have a late report on Jim Walker, the second driver involved in that terrible crash. Jim Walker of Ferndale, California, has been taken to the Halifax Hospital here at Daytona Beach with a fractured left knee. Walker, the second driver in the crash, a fractured left knee. Larry Scheil, the Texas driver, a fractured left leg and a mild concussion from that 175-mile-an-hour meeting of those two automobiles in turn 2. A 40-lap report is now available showing those 8 cars running together and the average speed way down to 139.260 miles per hour. We had 7 laps under caution after that 2-car crash in the second turn. The leaders are all gathered up in turn number 3. They're working in the 50th lap. The 50th lap, 70 laps to go here, 125 miles complete in the Permatex 300 as Jack Ingram, last year's winner, is pulling on a pit road very slowly. The interval between Joe Milliken in the 4th position and Darrell Waltrip continues to expand. It's now 10 and 8/10 seconds. Those front 4 cars willing to run like a group of mallards. Waddling over to the pond. They're all going into the first turn side by side. Now that's changing. We have a change of leadership, and 54 Lenny Pond ducks out in front to lead that quartet. Meanwhile, Darrell Waltrip is running all by his lonesome back here, and he can't do too much against a 4-car draft when they're running nose to tail. All of a sudden they're
again, they're 3 deep in the backstretch for the lead as they hit for turn 3.
Down on the inside, L.D. Ottinger got by Lenny Pond and Ray Hendrick to take over the lead.
Well, if they run side by side for a while, that could change the whole complexion to give Waltrip a chance to catch up. They have been running perfectly nose to tail for a while, and that's where you can really pull away, David Pearson.
Well, yes, it is, Ken. Of course, that's the way Darrell run yesterday in 125 milers. He laid back quite a ways, and when it come down to it, I guess that everybody thought he was going to stop again for fuel, but he made it up, so maybe that's what he's doing today.
The beautiful bronze automobile of Jack Ingram is being rolled behind the wall, and he becomes the 11th automobile to retire. Ingram is out. That's the 11th automobile of the 40-car starters to go behind the wall this afternoon here in the Permatex 300 at Daytona. Meanwhile, the battle up in front continues into the backstretch.
Lenny Pond continues to flex his muscles, but he runs in the second position. Now he darts to the inside, trying to get around L.D. Ottinger. It's still Ottinger in front as they hit the high banks.
Things are going to get interesting here in another lap or two because that lead quartet is gaining on a huge throng of cars that's been running in an 8 and 10 car draft here ever since that restart. Right now it's Ottinger, Pond, and then Ray Hendrick. Running on the tail is Joe Milliken in that lead quartet.
They run down at 50 laps, had 0-1 Hendrick then in front. It was Ottinger in second, Lenny Pond in third, Milliken fourth, Waltrip fifth. Going sixth was Johnny Allen, and seventh was Sammy Ard, all in the same lap. In eighth, 1 lap down, was Morgan Shepherd. Running in ninth was car number 97, Red Farmer, up to ninth position. Running 10th was the car Bob Burcham, who had started back in the 24th position. Number 24, who's had an off-again, on-again afternoon, is going behind the wall another time. Junior Crouch of Taylorsville, North Carolina. Running in the 11th position is car 96, Connie Saylor of Johnson City, Tennessee. 16 lead changes in the first 50 laps among Lenny Pond, L.D. Ottinger, and the 01 automobile. These are official lead changes on the start-finish line. There have been a lot of other changes all around the Speedway.
Number 17 is coming at you, Ken. Lenny Pond has annexed the lead as they come to the start-finish line.
There he is, Pond out in front. That's the 17th lead change this afternoon officially. And car number 8, Dale Earnhardt of Kannapolis, North Carolina, had a moment out here on pit road again for an unscheduled stop. There are 56 laps now complete as the front of the field moves to turn 2, working the 57th.
They're going to have to pick their way through traffic now because there's about 6 cars up front. Lenny Pond goes to the outside groove, works his way down the backstretch, and the back 3 cars just trail in single file as they work their way through this traffic. They're in turn 3.
Lenny Pond leads the pack as they try to thread the needle through traffic. Following him, L.D. Ottinger, but here comes Joe Milliken on the high side of Ray Hendrick.
Well, they are jammed up in there. 5 cars directly in front of them, and it looks like Milliken could advantage from this. The guy who is down way on the inside of the racetrack is Ray Hendrick, but he couldn't get through.
And there's a real bundle of slow automobiles directly in front of the leaders. 5 slow cars. Here's Pond trying to tread his way up on the high side around them. And he drags with him those other 3 automobiles. Meanwhile, Waltrip now runs 11 seconds back in 5th position as they work the 58th lap. And 13-second lead over 88 from the first to that position, so he's expanded it even more. Last lap in heavy traffic was at 176.4 miles per hour, 176.4. The fast lap on the track has been a lap by car number 01 at over 180 miles per hour. Meanwhile, the leaders begin to stretch it out at turn 3.
L.D. Ottinger reappropriated the lead from Lenny Pond in a fine move to the inside.
As they come around the high banking, moving up into the third of 4 racing lanes, it is L.D. Ottinger showing the way over that beautiful red, white, and blue Pepsi-Cola Chevrolet of Lenny Pond.
Field moving down with car into the tri-oval. Number 2, Ottinger on the inside, Lenny Pond on the outside. And they go wheel to wheel, side by side into the first turn. It's a marvelous game of chicken that they play as they square off in the fastest part of the racetrack.
This is the best Permatex race we've ever seen here at Daytona. Everybody's driving such a clean race. Nobody making much contact in the corners. Everybody's riding a good groove. It's the best field of cars they've ever had because they had almost 70 cars here, which meant that almost 30 loaded up and went home. That's the caliber of competition that's here. Those front 4 go down the back stretch, and they're getting it on again.
It's L.D. Ottinger again getting by Lenny Pond. This is a good place for L.D. Every time around, he seems to get that lead back from Lenny Pond here at turn 3.
Like 4 boxers, they feint and dart at one another, and it's L.D. Ottinger who has taken over the lead. Once again, Ray Henry goes low on the racetrack, can't get under Lenny Pond, and will have to remain in third spot.
A half second separates the first 4 automobiles as they come to the end of the 60th lap as 01 Ray Hendrick sits it out back for a moment. Here comes Lenny Pond. He grazes the inside right on the bottom of the racetrack into the first turn and puts the red, white, and blue number 54 back in the lead.
Pond goes back in the lead. Ottinger is second. Milliken is fourth. And back on that tail end of that 4-car draft is Ray Henry. They worked. Whoa! Lenny Pond erupting an engine coming out of the corner. Ottinger ducks to the inside, and the outside goes Milliken. Nobody spins. But Pond has lost an engine on the car. Back to the tower.
That's right where we've seen some of the worst crashes when an engine blows. Pond kept it gathered up. Apparently nothing came down to the oil pan. That's the scariest thing you can see right there in turn number 2. Lenny Pond erupts an engine. Let's go back to Barney Hall.
Must have been a frightening moment because Lenny
Barney, we're going to caution. We are going to caution. Apparently something did come out of the automobile. They're afraid there's oil on the track and the caution flag is being thrown. I beg your pardon. Back to Barney Hall.
There was a lot of smoke from the car, and everybody just suddenly broke away from Lenny, trying to get around as he let off going into the corner. Nobody was directly behind him at the time. He just swung to the outside. Everybody gets by, but it was a hairy moment for Milliken, Ottinger, and Hendrick as they were riding in that 4-car pack right on his bumper back, Ken Squire.
The second caution period of the day. After one of the lead automobiles, Lenny Pond erupts an engine out of the second turn. Wasn't too many years ago we saw one of the Arrington boys in that second turn. Engine loosened up on him. The car swung around and went upside down into the wall at 175 miles an hour and just flat demolished the machine. Pond kept the car gathered up today. He's coasted around and immediately gone back to the garage area. He becomes the 12th retiree from the race. As the Pontiac safety car steadies the field here with the second caution period of the day from a blown engine, the leader and winner of last year's race is standing by in the pits. Let's go to Ken Campbell.
And the fastest qualifier. And Jack Ingram, what happened out there?
Well, the radiator cap came loose sometime early in the race, and the car started getting hot, and it finally lost all its water. We was unable to cool it down because it was so hot, so we just retired.
Jack, we noticed you weren't running in that front pack, but you were always within sight of that front pack. Was that by design?
No, the engine was hot. The engine started getting hot from the go, and it got hotter and hotter, and we made a pit stop and thought we might try to cool it down some, but it was practically impossible because it was too hot.
From what you know of these cars that you see running ahead of you, do you think this torrid pace that they're following can continue through the day?
Anybody can win the race. I really don't know how it'll come out. It's a long ways to go yet. There's about 4 people. Looks like it's running pretty strong.
Thank you, Jack Ingram, and we're certainly sorry for what happened to you. Now back to the tower.
Well, that's a sad story for Jack Ingram, 3-time national modified champion. The leaders are all taking a little extra time here with the caution flag out to come on pit road. I'd like to remind people around the country that for the 500, and particularly in the southeastern part of the United States listening to us today, that there are 5,000 unreserved seats on sale tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., plenty of space in the infield for the Daytona 500. 5,000 unreserved seats go on sale at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, and plenty of space in the infield to enjoy the most spectacular automobile race in the world, the Daytona 500. Car number 4 has found its way to pit road. That's Wilson Michaud of Jacksonville, Florida, who started way back on the grid, and he's still out here running well and picking up spots. A 60-lap rundown is forthcoming shortly. They're working the 63rd lap, and we'll still have 5 cars together if Darrell Waltrip can keep up. Do you think it's like yesterday? It looked to me like he just got left out for a while, David Pearson, and couldn't make it up unless they had a caution flag.
Well, Ken, he could be having trouble also, and of course, if you are running hot, the only thing to do is just back off and let the car get some air and cool off. So Darrell could have been running hot also.
Well, as matters stand, we'll find out what the story is on number 88, the Gatorade automobile, when the green flag is unfurled once again. There is at least one more lap under caution. Perhaps the best move of the entire race thus far was made by Ottinger. He had a decision to make at almost 180 miles per hour and about less than half a second to make that decision. He made it just right, as the report comes from Jack Arute.
Ken, L.D. Ottinger showed the stuff that made him the national champion, as he was right behind Lenny Pond when that engine seized up. He darted to the inside and backed off just enough to give Pond the room to come down on him. He was in front of him. Lenny Pond was in front of L.D. Ottinger. Ottinger then went to the outside and got by, and he, in turn, inherited the lead. Back to the tower.
Pond led 7 times for 25 laps of the 60 laps that had been completed when his engine hand grenaded going out of turn number 2. Lenny Pond, a DNF. He won the Automobile Racing Club of America's 200-mile race last Sunday with the same automobile for Pepsi-Cola. He comes out tomorrow to carry their colors in the world's greatest automobile race, the Daytona 500, which you'll hear on these stations. We sure hope you'll be in Florida to enjoy it. Again, there are 5,000 unreserved seats that go on sale at 6 a.m. and plenty of room in the spacious infield to enjoy this great racing spectacle. Backstretch, the light is off on the safety car. Pete Keller is moving back into the infield, which means we're getting set to turn them loose once again and put the hammers down. With 63 laps complete of the 200 to be run, 57 laps remaining. When they come down for a start, we will be seen as a leader, I believe, number 01 automobile. The number 2 automobile, L.D. Ottinger's car, will be showing the way. Ottinger driving the Black Diamond Coal automobile with which he won the National Sportsman Championship. He appeared in 74 races last year. Absolutely the most rigorous schedule there is in motorsport if you're running for the late model Sportsman Championship. Don't envy him a bit, do you, David?
Again, I tell you, these boys that run for the championship, there's just something else. They got to run all over the United States and see how many races they can run in. They have, I would say, 4 or 5 sportsman races a week, and the guys just have to run as many as they can.
Field is down at turn number 1. We're back under green as Dale Earnhardt of Kannapolis, North Carolina, moves back on the speedway. And into the backstretch go the leaders as we get this one going again.
Well, they had a change in lead in a hurry that time because Hendrick just zipped around. L.D. Ottinger puts his Chevrolet back out front as they go down the backstretch. It will be Hendrick on the lead, and here comes Ottinger storming back on him.
Hendrick's got the lead by about a half a car length. Now it evaporates, and it's L.D. Ottinger on the low side taking over.
And there's a new face in the pack. Number 94, Johnny Allen of Greenville, South Carolina, has been running consistently on the tail end of the lead lap, but right now he's in the thick of it as he's riding in the 3rd spot. And here comes Waltrip trying to make up ground on the leaders.
Meanwhile, the 2 leaders are side by side. Waltrip got trapped on the start. He got caught in the back, and now he's trying to get himself unfurled and get back with the program. But 94, Johnny Allen is making some good moves, and the 2 leaders dice into turn number 1.
Switch it again as Hendrick goes back out front. Ottinger now 1 car length back. Milliken has fallen back about 150 yards behind the leaders. As they come out of turn number 2, it will be Ray Hendrick and L.D. Ottinger. Waltrip trying to pick his way up through traffic. He's got a long ways to go to get back to the front.
These 2 lead automobiles just strut down this back straightaway all by themselves. There's about a half car length between them. Hendrick in front, Ottinger in 2nd, and Milliken is in 3rd, way off the pace.
Milliken, having gotten himself around Johnny Allen, is struggling in traffic. And meanwhile, up front, this lead duo hooks up nose to tail as they try to get away and open up some separation.
From the world's finest motor speedway, 2 top-ranked sportsman drivers, L.D. Ottinger and Mr. Modified Ray Hendrick, continue their own personal vendetta. L.D. Ottinger of Newport, Tennessee, and Ray Hendrick of Richmond, Virginia, continuing their own war. L.D. Ottinger, 34-year-old race driver. We asked him if he thought he was stronger than when he was here a year before.
This year we ever been. We got a better car, a lot better, well, not a better crew, but a well-experienced crew, and a good sponsor that was, gets a good equipment for us.
His car right now is running second to Dick Armstrong's car, the big surprise of the race, which comes from Bellingham, Massachusetts. That car in the lead. The third spot is the Milliken car, the 04 automobile, and then comes number 88, Darrell Waltrip. Now the interval from first to sixth position, 6 cars in the lead lap, 11 seconds. That's lap 68. That means we're up to 170 miles complete of the 300-mile distance this afternoon.
We've got a car loose in turn 4. It's car number 44, Terry Mock of Jacksonville, Florida. We've got another car going to the inside to miss him. Mock went down to the infield, slid back up through a great, huge cloud of smoke and tagged the wall as he came off turn 4. The crowd comes streaming down out of the grandstand because the car stopped right in front of him, and now we've got another car loose and headed for pit wall. Ken Squire.
Terry Mock's on him. Let's see if this car is going to clear pit wall. He spins, slides, tries to get it. He does. Gets it back on pit road and brings it to a halt. He had it in the grass. And, boy, you really pick up speed when you hit the grass on this racetrack. It's just amazing. For all of about a half of a second, that car just seems to pick up about 10 or 15 miles an hour. Now there's a lot of dust out across the racetrack, and they've lost sight of that car, which is lined with the nose of the automobile facing right up toward turn 4, and someone has nailed him. 3 more cars are in trouble as they've come around. Here is a car crashing into the inside wall. Another car crashing into the wall. They have 4 or 5 automobiles. Dust from that first automobile, which spun across the racetrack, has blanketed the speedway, and now we have a 4 or 5 car tangle. Now the car which spun was car number 59, and the 59 automobile, Terry Mock, crashed in the wall head on, about 170 miles per hour. Number 59, A.C. York of Knoxville, Tennessee, spun on the inside and created a tremendous dust cloud, and 3 more cars spun to avoid the dust cloud or what was up in there, and 2 or 3 of them have crashed in that turn number 4 area. Let's see if Dave Despain can give us any more details.
Ken Squire, the whole thing started when car number 44, driven by Terry Mock of Jacksonville, Florida, came down into the low racing groove, obviously with some kind of malfunction. The car suddenly came around very, very slowly, sideways. Smoke began to erupt off the tires, and that was the beginning of the problem right there. Mock did a masterful job of driving, got it into the infield, but as you mentioned, the car simply does not handle on the grass. He lost it. Exiting turn 4 and actually on the straightaway, the car hooked back up across the speedway and rammed head-on into the wall. At that point, there was a tremendous cloud of blue smoke all over the exit of the 4th turn. It was then that A.C. York, who was running at least 10 seconds behind the car of Terry Mock at the time the incident occurred, simply saw nowhere to go as he came off the 4th turn. He tried to duck down into the infield grass, and when he did, his car, too, broke loose and slid. Then you had that what proved to be a fateful combination of blue smoke and the brown dust kicked up by that York car. There was simply no visibility whatsoever as these cars came back to level off that 31-degree banking. And it was then that the cars began to go into the pack, and simply trying to find some way to avoid it, suddenly we had cars everywhere. Unofficially, Chet Williams, number 65 out of Johnson City, Tennessee, is one of the cars that went over there and slammed into the inside guardrail, which is 50 yards away from the edge of the racetrack. Back to the tower.
Well, Terry Mock of Jacksonville, Florida, who crashed with Red Farmer a year ago on the start of this race, crashed again this year at turn number 4, and has led to car number 59 spinning to avoid him. A.C. York way down in the grass in Knoxville, Tennessee, and putting up a dust cloud that brought in car number 71, Wayne Shugart of St. Augustine, Florida, who spun to the inside. The 00 car of Sammy Ard, which has been running up in 6, had to take evasive action, looping down through the grass. And then car number 65 was also looping through the grass, Chet Williams, and we think that Jack Bland's automobile was in that confrontation, too. So those are the cars. We'll see how many are able to restart from the confrontation momentarily. Car number 4 is getting back underway from pit road. Wilson Michaud is still running. Car number 71, Wayne Shugart of St. Augustine, who spun, now has the hood up. They're working on that machine directly across from us here in the tower at the Daytona Speedway. Car number 96 is on pit road. Connie Saylor. Yes, go ahead.
Ken Squire in turn 4. This is Dave Despain. Sam Ard, who was running on the tail end of the lead lap, was one of the last cars to be involved in that mishap. He simply locked up the brakes trying to get stopped to avoid Mock, and he was tagged hard in the rear. His car is going onto pit road right now. Sam Ard has severe sheet metal damage in the back, and it looks like that metal is into the tires and is cutting up rubber as the smoke comes out from underneath it. Back to you, Ken Squire.
It's moved in more than the sheet metal. It looks like it really took some abuse. Looks like the tail feathers on a hen. It's just squashed right in there on car number 00, Sammy Ard, a white car, red numeral machine. We're in the 71st lap of the Permatex 300 after a wild moment in the fourth turn. Let's go to the pits momentarily with Ken Campbell.
Lenny Pond is with us here. Lenny, you had that Pepsi machine out in front today, and what happened there all of a sudden?
Well, we're coming off turn 2, and the engine just turned loose, and everything went real good after it did. Every car stayed straight. Everybody got by me, and, everybody was real safe. And this is the main thing when the engine blows, if you can keep control of the car and get it down to a safe speed and come on in the pits and get off the track. That's just a, good thing about it.
Was there any indication at all that this was coming?
No, it wasn't. Whatever happened to it just broke. Just no indication. It didn't slow down or anything. It just broke all at once.
Lenny, what might we look forward to here in the last lap? If you'd still been in that pack, where would you want to be on those last 2 or 3 laps?
Well, Ken, it sort of depends on the situation. If there's been traffic, a little bit of traffic in front of us, I'd like to be in front. Of course, you can use the traffic sometimes to your advantage, and, it's kind of hard to say standing in the pits. I'd have to be out there and see how my car was performing, how the other car was performing, and, sort of make up my mind what I'd like for it to be at the end. I know when we came across that line, I wanted to be in front.
As we hope you may be tomorrow. Thank you, Lenny Pond, and back to the tower.
Number 01 is leading here in the Permatex 300. That's the Ray Hendrick car. The Dick Armstrong automobile out of New England. Dick Armstrong for years has built modified automobiles, but all of a sudden, he'd got himself a late model Sportsman, and he's come down here and he has it out in front with car number 2, L.D. Ottinger's car, running in second spot and Joe Milliken's car in third, with fourth Darrell Waltrip and fifth the 94 of Johnny Allen. 5 cars running in the lead lap. In the 6th position, 1 lap down, is car number 50, which is Morgan Shepherd of Conover, North Carolina, and running 7th is Sammy Ard. Going 8th, 2 laps down, is car number 95, which is Tommy Houston of Hickory, North Carolina, and going 9th is car number 02. That's the Bob Burcham car out of Rossville, Georgia, with 10th, car number 17. The driver is Ron Bouchard of Fitchburg, Massachusetts. 11th is the number 97 car, Red Farmer of Hueytown, Alabama, but his car is really wrinkled in the nose. It's been blunted from that collision that took place up here in turn number 4. We see them now as 73 laps complete, making 47 laps to go in the Permatex 300 this afternoon, prelude to the Daytona 500. The Daytona 500 always draws an interesting field, and tomorrow there's plenty of room in the infield and 5,000 unreserved seats that go on sale at 6 a.m. to see the greatest talents there are in motorsport, and one of them is David Hobbs of Upper Boddington, England, who'll get his first opportunity in a Winston Cup Grand National race. Looking forward to it, David?
Well, I'm not too sure now, Ken, having watched that little fracas up there in turn 4. Can't even count now. That looked pretty exciting. I didn't fancy his chances much sitting in there facing the traffic up against the wall, and then I realized the driver was hanging on the fence, which is probably the best place to be in a situation like that.
Terry Mock climbed out of the automobile. He was all right after the car tagged the wall and climbed up in there.
Right.
What's been your reaction to all of this?
Well, I did the 125-mile heat on Thursday, which wasn't quite as frightening as I thought it was going to be. In fact, I rather enjoyed it. And although I only finished 8th, I felt that the car was running very well. I could hang in the draft just about with the leaders. And so I'm really looking forward to tomorrow's race. Obviously, there's going to be more traffic around than there was on Thursday. And it'll be an experience for me, that's for sure.
David Hobbs will be driving the Coca-Cola car. Do you have any advice for a rookie driver from England, former Formula 5000 champion David Pearson?
Well, Ken, the way he looked in the 125 miles, I don't think he have too much problem. So best thing I know to do is just try to stay clean and stay out of the trouble is the biggest thing. And in other words, if you win the race, you're definitely going to have to draft. So he's going to have to find him somebody to and just hang on to him.
Now, do you think you can stay clean for 500 miles, Hobbs?
Well, I'm not sure, Kenley. I shall certainly try. The thing is, you've got to hang in there to a certain extent, otherwise you get left behind. And if you hang in and go in over your head, I should imagine that's the biggest problem here. Just let yourself get sucked along and then find yourself being sucked into a corner at 200 miles an hour, which you've only been going around at 170 before. So it's difficult to go fast, stay up there, and at the same time keep it clean.
Just don't get sucked in the wrong place.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the wrong place on the racetrack, David?
That white bit out there where it says Daytona, USA, that's the wrong bit. You're supposed to stick on the light gray stuff.
That's still concrete, though, and it comes up mighty sour when you get into it.
And it don't move.
Very much so. I just saw that accident at turn 2 on the monitor screen. And that was another classic case. The guy bounced off the wall and spun around, and of course the one following behind him just clipped the front end.
Well, didn't that happen to you at Indianapolis a few years ago, where they had a bowling alley situation and you were the ball coming down through?
That's right. Actually, I set it off. The gearbox on my car seized up, and the guy behind me took evasive action, bounced off one wall, and went in off me onto the outside wall. That was all fairly exciting. But like most accidents, it's all over so quick that you don't really know what's happening while it's happening. It looked pretty terrible on film the next day, though. Well, so my mother thought. It's the only time I've ever had Indy on the television in England. And there I am sitting watching it, saying, oh, look, there's a pretty car rolling down the straight.
How do you feel it's going to be for a race tomorrow for you, Hobbs? Do you think that the car will go 500 miles without any problems?
Well, it's gone 200 and odd so far without any problems. We're not changing the engine because we don't have one to put in just at the moment. But the engine feels very strong, which... It seems to me a terrible strain on the thing. You know, you keep it flat out all the way around here for 500 miles. It's asking an awful lot of a stock engine, but they seem to do it. And so far, it's showing no signs of wear and tear or premature exhaustion. And I hope that it keeps going for the next 500.
We'll be back with the Permatex 300. We've been talking with David Hobbs, the Coca-Cola driver for the Winston Cup Grand National Series, and he'll be here in the Daytona 500 tomorrow from Upper Boddington, England. David, Pearson, you weren't very helpful in giving him any advice.
Well, I told him all I know to tell him.
Oh, I see. Pontiac safety car is picking up a head of steam. The field getting ready to start once again with Ray Hendrick. A surprise entry in this Permatex 300-mile late-model sportsman stock car race at the world's finest motor speedway, Daytona Beach, Florida, leading the event. The Dick Armstrong automobile out of Bellingham, Massachusetts, making a surprising showing, with second place continuing to be car number 2, the L.D. Ottinger automobile. It nosed down the pit road momentarily, took on a load of fuel, and I think that one may have slipped back. Am I right, Barney?
Okay, he's a little back in the pack, Ken. I'm just counting. There are 20 cars still running, so we've lost half the field as they get ready for this restart. Back to the tower.
Number 04, then, Milliken in the Dodge automobile will start up in second. Number 17, Ron Bouchard, is going back down, re-entry, and onto the track. In the third position will be car number 88, Darrell Waltrip, and running fourth is 94, Johnny Allen of Greenville, South Carolina, who's having a very consistent afternoon. He finished fifth here in his first appearance in 1974. This is his third time here. Last year, he had an engine snag up on him on the 96th lap. Here comes the safety car. The Pontiac car is moving down, this white automobile, down toward the pit road, and it comes in, and we're ready for resumption of the race after we had a little jam session in turn number 4 that brought out the caution for a considerable length of time. Race is back underway, and on the start it is 01, the Massachusetts car with the Richmond, Virginia driver, Ray Hendrick, going into the lead, and car number 88, Darrell Waltrip, begins to make his moves to get back up in the thick of things.
Waltrip drafted right down to the bottom of the racetrack. He has now picked up the number 2 position, rides 4 car lengths behind Hendrick. Into the number 2 corner, they roll. It is Hendrick out front, Waltrip in second. Milliken is back and forth as they string out down the backstretch. Waltrip pulling up on the leader.
The story on the backstretch, though, is L.D. Ottinger in car number 2. He was like a bee caught in a box back here as he breaks away from the slower cars now and plays catch-up with Joe Milliken.
Well, if Waltrip had any problems early, they don't show now. He has wedged the front end of his automobile right up under the leader, Ray Hendrick, and those two come off turn 4, nose to tail.
With 78 laps complete, 42 to go, it's Ray Hendrick in front, Darrell Waltrip in second, Joe Milliken is running in third from Daytona International Speedway. This is the Motor Racing Network. First lap after they came back from caution was a 177-mile-an-hour lap, and now we're looking forward to a very quick lap as the front 2 automobiles have hitched up in a draft. 01, Ray Hendrick, and 88, Darrell Waltrip are running away from the field. Joe Milliken is in third, but he's out of the draft about a second and a half, maybe 2 seconds behind the leaders. And back in fourth position comes L.D. Ottinger. He has come screaming through traffic to retake the front group, but he has not been successful. That 2-car draft is working. We're looking for a time in that last lap, which would be the 79th and 80th lap. They have fresh tires on the cars, and a 2-car draft which could make them very, very quick. They're back down at turn number 1, and here's the fastest lap of the race. the 79th lap at 181.086 miles per hour. Ray Hendrick gets the credit as the lead, but it's a two-car draft which established it. 181.086 is the new fast lap, and it's the 80th lap on which it took place. Car number 01, Ray Hendrick, was commandeering the event at the time. Here he comes. We just noticed Darrell Waltrip duck out for a moment and breathe his engine. Meanwhile, on pit road, Ken Campbell is standing by with the victim of that last crash, Terry Mock.
We just had an opportunity to talk with Terry Mock, and he tells me that the car locked up on him. The engine seized up. Here he is back, and let me have him tell you, Terry, exactly what happened over there.
Well, we were coming through turn 4, and the oil pressure and all looked fine all day, and all of a sudden the engine tightened up, and car switched ends, turned around backwards, and I looked, and I was up close to the wall, and so I just held it there and backed down the side of the wall and was sitting there when the yellow flag was out, and the car started coming around right toward me, and then they started dodging me and started piling up.
Well, the big story right now, that's Terry Mock. The big story now is Joe Milliken, who is overhauling a two-car draft. Number 04, Milliken, is pulling up. He is running right up on the rear, and now it's 3 cars for the lead. He was out of the draft, down about 2.5 seconds. He's right in the thick of things, lapping Ron Bouchard, and it's a 3-car battle for the lead as they go to the first turn in the 83rd lap.
Milliken about 7 car lengths back as they ride up in the groove in the 2-car draft of Waltrip. And Hendrick has not staved the efforts of this youngster from Randolph, North Carolina, who's a protege of Richard Petty. And now Milliken chops it down to 2 car lengths, and they really tighten it up down the backstretch. Milliken is right on the bumper of second-place car Waltrip as they move to turn 3.
Milliken begins to pull them in now. It's Hendrick in front, and Waltrip continues to pull the car out a wee bit here in turn 3 to breathe the car, but here comes Milliken. He's closed it up into turn 4.
Milliken is proud of that Dodge. He's been running on the back end of what has been basically a Chevrolet lead draft all day. That time he ran down those 2 Chevrolets, and he is right on their back door as they come to the start-finish line.
As Joe Thurman goes back on the racetrack and Wayne Andrews has his hood up, we watch car number 01, Ray Hendrick, go by, and here comes car number 88 to the inside out of the tri-oval. Into the first turn, making a pitch for the lead is the Chevrolet of Darrell Waltrip.
He's got it. Waltrip puts the Gatorade Chevy back in front, and now Hendrick rides second. Milliken is third, and that 3-car draft continues to wind their way around traffic to the bottom of the speedway. Comes Hendrick, looks for a place, there's nowhere to go, and here he goes back to the inside again. He may try to take the lead back.
It was a short track move coming out of turn number 2, set up Ray Hendrick for the draft. He gets it. Milliken gets by to run in second. Darrell Waltrip drops back to third.
3's a crowd in turn 3 as they
a
dive in
blown
there.
engine right in the back straightaway in front of Jackaroot.
Smoke pouring up on the automobile. He's got it under control. The Ford Torino, car number 71, in trouble. He keeps it under control. He is down on the apron. Number 71, Wayne Shugart of St. Augustine, Florida, is all right.
A 3-car race at the 85th lap, 212.5 miles complete in the Permatex 300. Here, the prelude to the great Daytona 500, which you'll hear on all of these stations tomorrow round the world. And in turn number 3, the battle is between Virginia's number 01 automobile being driven by Ray Hendrick. Joe Milliken in his Dodge automobile, which has just gone out in front, and 88 Darrell Waltrip. So as they come by, it's a North Carolina driver first, a Virginia driver in second, and running out in third spot is that Tennessee campaigner Darrell Waltrip. They're back into turn number 1, and Waltrip's trying to make a move on the outside. He was shut off out there. 01, Ray Hendrick would not let him have ground. 86 laps now complete as this battle continues to surge back and forth between 2 Chevrolets and a Dodge automobile. 21 automobiles have fallen by the wayside of the 40 starters in the Permatex 300 late model sportsman race here at the Daytona International Speedway. Ken Squire, the Motor Racing Network, bringing you the action. Tomorrow we'll bring you the Daytona 500. Right now, the front 3 automobiles go clipping down into turn number 1, and the car on the point is number 04, Joe Milliken, averaging 180.722 miles per hour in his last lap. Wayne Andrews showing a lot of smoke out of car number 15 as he comes by. An 80-lap rundown should be upcoming here. Here's the 80-lap rundown for you with car number 01. Then in front, the first-place automobile, Ray Hendrick at that time, with Darrell Waltrip in second, Joe Milliken in third, going fourth, Ottinger, and fifth, number 94, Johnny Allen. 5 cars in the lead lap. In sixth place, 1 lap down, is Morgan Shepherd. Running in seventh is the Bob Burcham car. In the 8th position is number 95, Tommy Houston. Running in ninth is Red Farmer. Going 10th is Ron Bouchard. The 11th position runner is car number 3, Brad Teague. Going 12th, 5 laps down, car number 58, Bud Strickler. 13th is the number 59 of A.C. York. Going 14th is car number 4, Wilson Michaud, who started up in the last positions for the race back in 38th. Going in the 15th position, car number 41, which is Jack Bland. In the 16th position, car number 8, Dale Earnhardt, running.
Into turn 3, we've got a challenge for the lead. Ray Hendrick way down low, gets by Joe Milliken into 4.
17th is Connie Saylor, and running 18th is car number 83, Tommy Rabb. Here come the 3 leaders down to complete the 90th lap as they come into the tri-oval area. It'll be 90 laps down, 30 to go, with the leader, Ray Hendrick, in a Chevrolet. Joe Milliken in a Dodge in second. Darrell Waltrip tight to him in another Chevrolet running third. That white and green automobile of Darrell Waltrip, not superstitious. He won with these colors in one of those twin 125-mile races on Thursday. Incidentally, in competition this week, the 125-mile races were won by Dave Marcus and by Darrell Waltrip, and they are the most exciting Grand National races that are run. Those Thursday races annually, a test for the drivers of their equipment before moving on into the Daytona 500, and it establishes the field outside of the front row for the 40 cars that will race in this great racing classic tomorrow afternoon. This year's Twin 125s were spectacular. If you're ever coming to Florida, make sure you make your plans to see those. Yesterday, A.J. Foyt won the International Race of Champions Grand Finale. Benny Parsons won the 4th segment, but the overall point winner was Houston, Texas' A.J. Foyt. I thought this guy here, David Pearson, was going to win it, but at the finish, Mario Andretti put a move on him and held you back.
Well, Ken, I had everything going just the way I thought I wanted it, and going down the backstretch, I was running in 3rd spot, and I felt 4th spot it was, and I said, well, I'll draft by Mario going in number 3, then 4th is going to try to pass Benny coming off of 4, then that'll make a 2-car draft, and I can shoot by them and and win the race. But when I started in number 3 corner over there, Mario, I guess, planned to pass also, and so when he come down, I had to get out of it, and so I just, when I done that, it messed me up, and I couldn't get to the slingshot and come off the 4.
So A.J. Foyt went on to win the overall, the International Race of Champions, and Benny Parsons won that 4th leg in a dramatic finish. 4 cars came across the line less than half a second apart. Meanwhile, here today, we have 3 cars running half a second apart. Well into the race, they're climbing up on the western wall, the 31-degree banking of this 2.5-mile racing facility at the birthplace of speed. We have for you a further rundown upcoming in about 2 laps, they say, on the 90-lap rundown. The average speed at 80 laps, 134.544. Slow because of these 3 periods under caution created by Rex this afternoon. 20 lead changes, 20 cars still running. And we've had 3 caution periods for 19 laps. As matters stand, coming to the line to complete the 94th lap, the leader is Ray Hendrick, with Joe Milliken in 2nd, Darrell Waltrip in 3rd. Running in 4th is car number 2, L.D. Ottinger. He's several seconds back. Then in 5th is the Johnny Allen automobile. 1st to 5th position, well into the race, 13 seconds. And that's not much of an interval at all. Running in the 6th position, 1 lap down, is Morgan Shepherd. Running 7th is the 02 of Bobby Burdick. That 02 car is owned by Dave Marcus, who drives the K&K Dodge tomorrow. Then running in the 8th position is car number 97, Red Farmer. In the 9th position, moving up 1 position, is Ron Bouchard, the Massachusetts driver. In 10th position is number 95, the Hickory, North Carolina runner, Tommy Houston in a Chevrolet. 18 cars are now reported running on the 90-lap rundown. 30 to go, 225 miles complete in the Permatex 300 with Ray Hendrick in the lead. The 3-car draft has stabilized for the lead with car number 01 out in front. Ray Hendrick, number 04, running 2nd. The Dodge automobile now moves up on the inside of the 3,000-foot backstretch to get a breath of fresh air in that 3-car draft, and perhaps the Dodge will be allowed to annex it here as we move toward the finish of a dramatic one today. They're side by side.
Oh, and Milliken was loose. Milliken almost lost it down there as he came to the inside of Ray Hendrick. He got the car sideways, straightened it back up, gathered it back up, and he may lose 2nd spot.
Indeed he is. Car number 88, Darrell Waltrip, is moving into 2nd position. Dropping back to 3rd is Milliken. From Daytona International Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network. The 97th lap has just been run at 178.726 miles per hour by the lead automobile, Ray Hendrick's car from Richmond, Virginia. That car, the Dick Armstrong automobile in front, is being challenged in the backstretch by number 88, Darrell Waltrip.
The Gatorade Chevrolet on the inside gets by Ray Hendrick to take over the lead.
Waltrip played third chair in that trio for a long, long time, but now suddenly has forged to the front as we get close to pit stop time. It's Waltrip, then Hendrick, and Milliken rides third.
As they come by, they have to appear in 10 late model Sportsman races a year to qualify for this event. Here comes Waltrip getting beat. 0-1. Ray Hendrick down on the inside, defeats him as they came into the tri-oval area that time. It's Ray Hendrick really muscling everybody out here this afternoon.
Ken, I think really Darrell had just done that just to try something to see if he could do it. And I really think he backed off coming off forward to let Ray pass him before he got to the start and finish line to make Ray think that he could do it if he'd done it during the races. So he might just be trying to pull a little bit of strategy there to make Ray think that he could beat him coming off of 4.
Well, now he goes up on the outside in the backstretch, working the 99th lap. This is Darrell Waltrip, who runs a lot of Sportsman races and plans to run 20 or 30 of them this year in another green and white Gatorade automobile. Here he is against the new style Jewelry Chevrolet, car number 01, Dick Armstrong's company. It has that front-running position as the Sportsman cars, first cousin of the Grand National automobiles, get down toward a finish. 100 laps to go, and they come around this time, or 100 laps down, and 20 laps to go to decide it all this afternoon. Hendrick out in front. David Pearson, you've run against him many times in the short track. He's as tough as they come when you get out there in a half mile.
Yes, he is, Ken. And in fact, like I say, on the super speedway here, I really believe that where Darrell's at right now is exactly where Darrell wants to be. And I feel like if it comes down to the last lap, Darrell will win the race.
Well, Waltrip is working right there, but Hendrick will not be intimidated by anyone. He's 46 years old. He's been racing for 2.5 decades, and you just can't fool with him. He knows how to make a car work and run. He's come in here with modified cars for the past 4-5 years and done very well. 24 seconds now from first to fifth position. Hendrick is out in front, and what a surprise this is. Because as a Sportsman car driver, well, you have to go back to the mid-60s to find Ray Hendrick on this racetrack, and then it was a 4th place in 1964 was his very, very best finish. We're getting down to 100 laps complete, 20 laps remaining. Here's car number 88 on pit road, Darrell Waltrip, and number 01 Hendrick. And we have a battle of pit stops. Under green, the Norris Industries people pitting for 01. And that's the car of Ray Hendrick. The Gatorade team is over the wall, pitting for Darrell Waltrip. Both cars are on pit road. The Bud Moore team, who will be working Buddy Baker's car tomorrow, working with Ray Hendrick this afternoon. The Mario Rossi team with their car number 88. And here comes 01 out. 01. Ray Hendrick is headed back out. Car number 88 is just coming off the jack. They're going to come down pit road side by side, David Pearson.
Yeah, they are. I noticed Darrell come into pits a lot faster, Ken, than Ray did, so I felt like that Darrell picked up a lot of speed coming into pits, but it looked like Ray beat him out after all.
He sure did beat him out. Car number 01 moved around and is going away from Darrell Waltrip as they go down into the corner. An amazing run by 01. Now 04 Milligan's car, the 3rd place automobile, is in. On pit road, 01 was in 17 and 6/10 seconds. 88, Waltrip 22.5, and there's the story. 17.6 for 2 tires and fuel on car number 01. The Norris Industries team with a great job, and the 88 car, the Mario Rossi team, 22.5. And here's one, 04 comes out in 8 and 2/10 seconds. They just topped the tank and sent it back out. No tires on the Joe Milliken automobile. So now they link back up to get it on toward the finish of this race. They're all set to go to the wire. And surprisingly, 01 just pulled away, David Pearson, as they came on the speedway.
He did, Ken, and I noticed that Ray has got to have some horsepower in that car, the way he just come out of those pits and got up his speed that quick.
That's a Jack Tant engine. One of 2 or 3 Jack Tant engines which were around Daytona Beach, and back in the days of the 327 cubic inch engine, that was the engine you wanted to have. If you were running on a half mile and you had a Tant engine, you went home. But if Ray Hendrick was in the race and he had a Jack Tant engine, he went a little faster always, didn't he?
He does. I know. I just can't see nobody that run like Ray does on these half-mile tracks.
Well, today on a 2.5-mile track, he's running like a super speedway star. Here he is out of turn number 4. He has a pretty healthy advantage, and with less than 20 laps to go, with now 17 laps to go, Darrell Waltrip has to run him down. In the race the other day, we're getting the interval between the first and second place car. Waltrip ran down the leaders to win the 125-mile qualifier on Thursday and get himself up in the second row behind the Hawkeyes. Let's see what he's going to do today in his attempt to run down the leaders. The interval between the first and second place car will be coming up in just a moment here in the Permatex 300. With 105 laps complete and 15 to go, here's the situation. L.D. Ottinger, Newport, Tennessee driver, has not pitted his automobile. So Ottinger is in the lead after an 8-second pit stop, 0-4. Joe Milligan has taken second. Going third is 0-1. That's the Ingram car, and fourth is number 88. Then fifth is 94, Johnny Allen, and those are the 5 cars in the lead lap. Repeating, Ottinger has not pitted, so he is still in the lead, but he's expected in on this time around. Milliken, who came in only for fuel, did not take on tires for the finish of the race, and again, L.D. Ottinger comes by and does not come in. The last time he pitted was on lap number 60. Lap 60, so he should be running a little thin out there at this point, David Pearson.
Yes, he should, Ken. That's over 100 miles at lap 60, so he'll definitely be coming in pretty quick because he is out of fuel.
0-4, running in second place, comes by. Now the 0-1 automobile, and here comes Darrell Waltrip down off the fourth turn. The complexion of this race has changed dramatically. The first 4 cars are now spaced out around the track. We're waiting on car number 2. He has established himself as the car to beat, but he has to pit. Here's car number 8, Dale Earnhardt, back on pit road another time. And as his car number 8 is pumped in the air, let's see if car number 2 is going to elect to come in. Now I'm wondering if we've missed him sometime and he's ducked in here and got back on the speedway.
Well, Ken, he could have, because it's just hard to believe that he went that far on a tank of fuel.
Well, car number 2 is in turn number 1. Ottinger in the lead with 107 laps complete. Kenny Campbell in the pits. Can you shed any light on this?
We'll check it. No, we don't think that he has been in, but there have been some of the tales going around the pits today that some of these boys were planning to go much more than 100 miles because of the lean engines they were running, and this may be the case, but we'll be back to you in the tower.
Car number 2 pitted on lap 76. He was in on lap 76, so he's still got some fuel in there, but he's running awfully low.
76 laps, Ken, that's right at 100 miles right now, so he should be real close, and I don't know exactly what size engine he's got in the car, and like I say, he was laying back. He could have been laying back and saving fuel, drafting off the other cars, and they might think that they could be able to make it, but it just don't look like it could to me.
It's strategy being played here now in the Permatex 300. With 108 laps complete, 12 laps to go. Car number 2, Ottinger, the question mark as to whether or not he will pit. As the field continues to work here this afternoon, it looks like car number 2 is being told to come in. They're getting prepared to stop for car number 2. The automobile of L.D. Ottinger.
He's coming in, Ken.
Here he is coming out of pit road. Ottinger, number 2, the Black Diamond Coal automobile. Beautiful red, white numeral car. Gracefully coming down this pit road, a sleek-looking machine. Chevrolet car is on pit road. He's in for fuel, and 0-4, Joe Milliken now takes the lead. Milliken goes out in front, moving in the second position. His car, and he's away, and he puts out a lot of smoke and burns up some transmission and some tires as he comes on. Milliken is now in front. Joe Milliken has taken the lead from Level Cross, North Carolina. Milliken is in first place. In the second position. We're going to hold on this. I'm sure it's 0-1. Let's pick it up on the backstretch if you can. Jack Arute.
Milliken streaks by us right now. He is in the first position, but here comes Ray Hendrick. He's been gobbling it up. It was about a 9-second advantage, and now he's got it narrowed down to about 7. And a motor comes unglued on car number 50, Morgan Shepherd, right behind.
In turn 3 and 4, Shepherd goes up almost into the wall and now tries to slow the car down. There's nobody directly behind him, so he should be able to keep out of traffic's way and out of harm's way. But Morgan Shepherd has definitely popped something, and now smoke erupts out of the car as he gets it safely down onto the apron.
Field coming by, laps running out. 0-1 goes screaming after Joe Milliken in the lead. This is the young man that thought he had it won a year ago, and Jack Ingram just out-thunk him right at the finish. Here is the Morgan Shepherd car number 50 on pit road. 111 laps complete. When they combine, there will be 8 laps to go in the Permatex 300. Tomorrow, the Daytona 500 here at the world's finest motor speedway. 5,000 seats go on sale at 6 in the morning. Plenty of room in the infield to enjoy America's greatest racing spectacle. Here they come out of turn number 4. Another time with Joe Milliken's automobile showing the way. The Dodge automobile prepared in the same place that Richard Petty's cars are at Level Cross, North Carolina. This car was built by Milliken. He used the same jigs that Richard uses to build the car number 43. The 01 car, Dick Armstrong's automobile, running superbly in second spot. What a day for a guy who's never had a late model Sportsman car. That's Dick Armstrong. Here's number 2 coming by, and then car number 88 is going after him. Darrell Waltrip, and there's a lot of interval here. It goes like this. There's 8 seconds between first and second. There's 11 seconds from the second car back to the third place car, Ottinger, and then 2.5 seconds back to car number 88. So the one that's closing most rapidly is car number 88, Waltrip, on car number 2, the L.D. Ottinger car running in third position. Tommy Houston, running in 5th, is now a lap down from the leaders. Running out of laps here, Ron Bouchard is in the 9th position. Going in 8th is car number 02, Bob Burcham. In the 7th spot is Red Farmer. In the 6th position has been Morgan Shepherd. His car is now out of the race, and we're going to see the Bob Burcham car have a really great finish today. 113 laps are complete and 7 laps remaining as car number 04, not changing tires, a very good pit stop on the automobile, and that has made the difference. The Petty crew, Dale Inman, crew chiefing for Joe Milliken today, making the right decision, Dave Pearson, on how to get back in this race and win it.
Well, Ken, definitely, Dale definitely made the right move, and it looks like that, the way he's running right now, and the car is handling real good, so if nothing don't go wrong, he should win the race.
He has completed 114 laps, 6 laps to go for young Joe Milliken in his second appearance in the Permatex 300. 01, Ray Hendrick comes by in second. Now 8 2/10 seconds down, and then the third place rider, L.D. Ottinger, comes by in number 2. He's in third, and right behind him comes Darrell Waltrip in fourth in the Gatorade car number 88. What a surprising race this has been. A brilliant piece of team strategy by the Petty team for their driver, Joe Milliken, and number 04 is out in front. Boy, those pit crews can really make the difference in what they decide to do. 5 laps remaining. 5 to go in the event, and Joe Milliken's Dodge automobile seems to be on its way to victory here this afternoon. Let's go to Barney Hall at turn 1.
Waltrip's making up a little distance on Ottinger. We've been watching them the last couple of times around. Whether he has enough laps to catch him and better himself one position is anybody's guess, but he definitely is closing on L.D. Ottinger, Ken Squire.
So Milliken is down at turn number 1, working his way around the speedway. Let's pause now for station identification. Less than 5 laps remaining. When they come by this time, they'll have completed 290 miles and only 10 miles to go. 4 laps here. And then it's on to the Daytona 500 tomorrow. You'll hear it all around the country. We certainly hope you'll be with us. And be sure to tell your local radio stations how much you enjoy motorsport, if indeed you do, in your local newspapers. Let them know you enjoy hearing these and other races throughout the year. Car number 83 is coming back on the track. Tommy Rabb of Gaffney, North Carolina. Here he is, Gaffney, South Carolina. Car number 35, Tommy Rabb. A Mercury automobile has just pitted, and he gets back into it. All of a sudden, the complexion of this race just changed completely on those pit stops. And the Milliken car, number 04, has himself a pretty good run at the lead. Number 2, L.D. Ottinger, comes by in third. And Darrell Waltrip, trying to overhaul him, seems to be losing a little ground now. Falling back with 4 laps to go in his quest for the third position in this race. Now we have one of those cars that was in that 4th turn shunt and was able to continue on pit road. That's car number 59. The driver, A.C. York of Knoxville, Tennessee, in a Mercury automobile. Front running car is a Dodge, number 04. Young Joe Milliken, who works in the engine room at Petty Engineering in Level Cross, North Carolina, scoots across the line running a Dodge automobile. The second place automobile is now in the tri-oval, the major surprise of the race. The Dick Armstrong car from Bellingham, Massachusetts, with the modified champion Ray Hendrick driving the car in a strong second. Then in third is car number 2, Ottinger, and running in fourth is car number 88, the Gatorade car with Darrell Waltrip. 117 laps have been completed. With less than 3 laps to go, we pick up the leader on the backstretch.
It's long, straight, and narrow for the 04 Jay Milliken car as he hits the high banks into turn number 4.
Milliken continues to seem to have the handle, Ken. The tires that he did not change could very well win this race for him. It's running like it's on rails.
Here it is back into the tri-oval, and he's about to overlap car number 24, Junior Crouch of Taylorsville, North Carolina, as he slides down toward turn number 1 at better than 178 miles per hour.
Ken, Richard Petty said once of this youngster that when he got some experience, he would be tough to beat on any of the tracks, and that's proving very true here today. He's had a smooth ride all day. He's just coming up in the banking in turn number 2, going down the backstretch. He hasn't varied much all day in these corners. He's just driven a beautiful race. Down the backstretch he goes.
Well, he was saying before the race that he was not going to get caught or trapped by an old fox like Jack Ingram as he was a year ago. He intended to win it, and indeed that's what he's doing right now. And the Dodges, David Pearson, look pretty stout down here for Speed Weeks 1976.
Well, Ken, they've proved that they have been stout. They've won, I think, about every race they've had this week, or past couple of weeks. I know that they won. Dave Marcus won the 125-miler, and
well, a Chevrolet won the other one. That Chevrolet, the 88 car, came up through with Darrell Waltrip to win that second 125-mile qualifier.
Yeah, but I felt like that Richard would have won it if he hadn't had problems. I know that he had already pulled away from Darrell, and even out of the draft, and he had to pit for the gas, and now here that this one here is running real strong.
We're in the final lap now. White flag has been thrown to the field, and on the backstretch, number 04 Milligan goes looking for his first big victory. Jackie Arute.
Joe Milligan, high, wide, and handsome, taking it very easy into the 31-degree banking. It's his last tour around here. He heads to you, Dave Despade.
Milligan backs down the tap on that brilliant red, orange, white trimmed Dodge, and he's going to ease it under the checkered flag, the winner of the Permatex 300.
Here he comes to the line, 28 years old from North Carolina. The winner is 04, and a standing ovation for the Daytona crowd as he comes across the line. The Permatex 300, 1976 NASCAR championship race is history. The winner, Joe Milliken. We're waiting on Joe Milliken in victory lane right now. Ken Campbell will be there with him momentarily. He's won it. The second place goes to Ray Hendrick. In third is L.D. Ottinger. Fourth is Darrell Waltrip. And fifth this afternoon, car number 94, Johnny Allen. The Permatex 300 is over, and a jubilant crew. Maurice Petty was first over to congratulate Joe Milliken as he came down. David Pearson?
Well, Ken, he done a real fine job, and you'd have to hand it to the boys on the pit stops. That I think that won the race for him, and the crew and everything. And Joe, you can't hand. I mean, you'd have to hand it to him. He done a heck of a job today driving the car.
Let's go to the victory lane area now, where Joe Milliken enters for the first time.
They're moving into victory lane now, and Joe Milliken getting out of the car here in victory lane. We'll have him here for you in just a moment. Pete Benoit and all the Permatex crew and the many others congratulating him. Joe will be out of the car in just a minute. Joe Milligan loosening the straps, taking off the radio, and coming out a very happy young man. Taking just a moment there before he leaves the car. Getting a drink, coming out, but that beautiful Dodge is here in victory lane. A very happy Joe Milligan will be with us in just a moment.
David Pearson, tomorrow, the Daytona 500, we're waiting on Joe Milligan. If you have one guy tomorrow you'd really like to race with all day, who would it be?
Well, Ken, that'd be hard to say. And, of course, we've had awful lot of good luck here running with Richard Petty, and the way that car handled there and the way he's been running today and the way he was running yesterday, I hope I can run with him.
Well, thank you very much for coming by. I know you want to get down to practice for a moment here, the final practice before the 500 tomorrow. David Pearson, the driver of car number 21, has been helping us this afternoon with his Permatex 300. Now down to victory lane.
Joe Milligan is out of the car now. Just a minute. Joe Milligan, congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
Did you think this could happen this afternoon?
Well, I knew we had as good a chance as anybody, and the guys worked real hard all week on the car and all, and then we had a Petty pit crew for when we made our pit stops, and that's what won the race for us.
Was there any problem on that last pit stop, Joe?
No, I just couldn't quite understand on the radio what they was wanting me to do. They called me in a couple of laps before I really come in, and I thought to start with I might have a tire going down all, and then finally I come in and they put gas in me, and we went back and run just hard as we could.
Were you watching for that other red car that was closing down the end of the race?
Yeah, I know Ray would be there. I know he was running real hard, and but we could run as good as he was, and our car run real good all day, and we run right there with him, and the last pit stop's what won the race for us.
Well, we certainly congratulate you.
We'll get the television next.
All right, and we certainly congratulate you and back up to the tower.
Chris?
So that's the story from Victory Lane, where they're celebrating with Joe Milligan and car number 04. After a brilliant victory, David Hobbs of Upper Boddington, England, will get his first opportunity in the Daytona 500 tomorrow. The Coca-Cola colors will be flying on your car. Now that you've seen a 300-miler from topside, what do you think of it all?
Well, all pretty impressive. I just hope I'm as happy tomorrow as Joe Milligan is down there in Victory Lane. He drove a very good race, but as you said, that last pit stop did it for them. It was a quick stop. The other two really fouled it up for themselves by bothering to change the tyres, which he just didn't. So obviously he went out a long way in front of them and managed to stay there for the last few laps.
David, you've driven in Grand Prix. You've been the Formula 5000 champion. What's your reaction to all of this? 3 or 4 days of racing, and actually 2 whole weeks of racing, starting the 24 hours of Daytona, which you nearly won, to all of this that happens down in Florida once a year, this ritual we have?
Well, they call it the Speed Week, the Daytona Speed Weeks, and they are absolutely a very impressive thing to be present at. I'm amazed at the crowd here today, which is, in strictly speaking, a backup race. The excitement is so intense down here. This NASCAR racing really holds the cars together, and that's what the people come to watch. I have to admit that road racing can become, at times, a little bit just slightly tedious to watch. It's never tedious to drive in, but it can be a little bit tedious to watch. And these big, wide-open ovals where everybody can see all the cars all the time, and you have so many lead changes, it's got to be faced that it's very, very exciting racing. And there's a tremendous build-up. They do a tremendous promotional job down here. And they get the people in, and when they're here, they see tremendous racing. I mean, today's race was a classic example. It was one heck of a race, and I hope tomorrow's is as exciting in some ways. And I just hope I win it.
Of course, you hope that you don't create some of the major excitement other than winning.
Definitely. I want to be headlines on Monday, but only in the winner's circle.
All right. David Hobbs of Upper Boddington, England, and in tomorrow's broadcast, he'll be driving number 73, the Coca-Cola car here. And it's his first opportunity to drive a Grand National Winston Cup car. Thank you for coming by, and I know you've got a little practicing to do as well as the others.
Right. Thanks very much, Ken.
All right, sir.
See you again.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's over, the Permatex 300, but it's just the beginning. For tomorrow is the classic, the Daytona 500. Here's how they ran across the line when it was over at 120 laps, 300 miles today. Car number 04 came home victorious. Joe Milligan, a youngster from Level Cross, North Carolina, following in the footsteps of Richard Petty. In the second spot was car number 01, the veteran Ray Hendrick from Richmond, Virginia, in the Dick Armstrong car out of Billingham, Massachusetts, a Chevrolet second, Dodge first. Third was car number 2, L.D. Ottinger, Newport, Tennessee, Chevrolet, and fourth was Darrell Waltrip in the Gatorade Chevrolet. Fifth, one lap down, was car number 94, Johnny Allen out of Greenville, South Carolina, the Greenville Wheel Rim Ford. Finishing in the sixth position was car number 02, Bob Burcham of Rossville, Georgia, who came in as a replacement driver today in the Dave Marcus-owned automobile and did splendidly. Finishing seventh was car number 97, Red Farmer, who had started in 30th position. Eighth was car number 95, Tommy Houston of Hickory, North Carolina, who started 16th. Running ninth at the finish was the Ron Bouchard-driven automobile, which had started 22nd, Bouchard out of Fitchburg, Massachusetts. Running in 10th was Brad Teague of Johnson City, Tennessee, in a Chevrolet. The 11th position was car number 19. The driver was Joe Thurman of Rocky Mount, Virginia. 12th was A.C. York. In the 13th position was Wilson Mayhew. 14th was Connie Saylor, and 15th was Tommy Rabb. 25 lead changes among 3 drivers, 3 cautions, 1 bad crash early with 2 drivers injured, taken to Halifax Hospital. They are reported in good condition, although both suffered a broken leg. That's it today. Tomorrow is the Daytona 500. We certainly hope you'll be with us if you can't be here in Florida to enjoy the greatest spectacle there is anywhere in the world of motorsport, the most competitive automobile race there is, the Daytona 500, commencing tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. That's tomorrow for the Daytona 500 on all of these same stations from the world's finest motor speedway, the Daytona International Speedway. Ken Squire saying good afternoon.
From Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida, this was the Motor Racing Network with the broadcast of the Permatex 300 NASCAR Late Model Sportsman National Championship Race. This broadcast of the Permatex 300 was a presentation of Motor Racing Network, a division of International Speedway Corporation. This is Rick Wolf speaking.